So more Super Bowl review. It is the biggest game of the year. So we'll get into more Super Bowl review coming up in the 4 o'clock and also in the 6 o'clock. And of course, we got your off the record. Hard Knock Life at 4:30. Raj ran the day at 5:30. Before we do, let's introduce you to the rest of the crew. He was a second-round pick for the Montreal Expos, but a first-round pick for the Austin Radio Network. He originally committed to the University of Texas, but decided to forego the 40 acres and chase his dream in the cheese. Pimping ain't easy, but for this man, it's a breeze. Ladies and gentlemen, Hardball Hards. What's going on, Mike? How you doing, brother?
Top of the chart Tuesday. I, too, really dig Top of the Charts Tuesday because it takes you way back.
Way back.
And then at the end, it brings you back to where you really recognize the music. If you're not an old soul sometimes. You know what I'm talking about?
That's real.
And to my man, Rob Avers, and the ladies out there, and my man, Patrick, happy Valentine's Day. I know a lot of people are having a good time today. A lot of people are running into HEB right now, trying to get that stuff figured out.
Better late than never.
Hey, at least
I was
you
in
get
there.
it.
I was
Hey.
in there at 7 this morning. So
I was going to say,
y'all.
you was already in there talking about, baby, I'll be back. I'm going on a run.
Oh,
Little
yeah.
did I know he was running all the way to HEB.
My wife doesn't get up till a little bit late. I know when she gets up, so I get out the house before that.
There
get
it is.
Done.
My man right there.
Yeah.
He hails from H-Town with the Get Down. He's a lifetime Longhorn and a proud card-carrying member of DBU. Legendary lifetime, now Hall of Fame Longhorn. My man Derek Johnson said he was the best cover corner he had ever seen. He's a former NFL DB that still has that passion for film study, but he's not a fan of white condiments. But he is a fan of you, the listeners. He is my man and yours, Rod Babels.
I appreciate that intro. Let's not waste any time introducing the real MVP of this thing. He's the Idillionaire. Honestly, folks, it wouldn't happen without him. He's also one of the hardest working members of the ARN family. Got a hustler spirit, period. We don't know what he's paid, but we're pretty damn certain he's underpaid. Patrick Davis. What's going on, Patrick? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. It's Valentine's Day, which for a guy like me means absolutely nothing.
Whoa. It does mean something because you're a single man, and I've been single on Valentine's Day, and there's a different element to it because ladies, unfortunately, because it is it's a holiday that's slanted toward the women, and it's good. I'm all for the ladies, so I'm glad the ladies getting some love. It's slanted usually toward the ladies, and when they don't have a significant other during Valentine's Day, they're a little sad. And they're looking for comfort. They're looking for
that is true.
They're looking for comfort. They won't come. Even temporary companionship on this day. Everybody want to be with. Everybody want to love somebody, even if they know it ain't real on Valentine's Day.
It's a Tuesday.
I know.
It's a Tuesday. I ain't working hard on a Tuesday night trying to shut anything down. I'm too lazy for that.
What you know this? If she's out there on a Tuesday, she really wants it.
Hey.
She's
working hard on a Tuesday.
What I mean by it is companionship. She don't want to be alone on this day. She want to feel the love. All right. So all you gotta do is go show the love. You showing love on this day, even if you're single or in a relationship, you will get the return on that investment. That's what I'm saying. So you need to get out there, man. I know you've been thinking about it. You know, just go see. Go to your favorite watering hole and just go check it out and just see if there's a woman out there who's like, man, I couldn't I don't have a Valentine's Day, love right now, or a Valentine's Day crush, whatever it is. If you can't be with the one you love
the one you're with.
That's what they say.
It is. Hey, dip your toe out there, dog. Dip your toe in the water. Just jump out there.
Get with somebody. All right, that's all I'm saying.
Hey, I ain't mad at you.
Hey, I know Patrick thinking about you talking about it don't mean nothing. Oh, it means something.
Oh, it means a little something.
There's some ladies out there, and they just, they may want, a warm and cuddly Patrick to hang.
And they definitely want somebody that can play that music like you do.
That's
let them know they at the top of the charts on a Tuesday.
You at the top of my charts.
There you go right there, Patrick. There you go.
That's a nice little line. I like that. You're at the top of my charts on a
got
Tuesday.
you.
All right, let's start off with Texas basketball, of course. Obviously, I'm assuming, Patrick, I don't know if he did this or not, top of the charts Tuesday, at one point there's going to be a Valentine's Day themed song for Top of the Charts Tuesday.
I don't know if there is.
Really?
I genuinely.
Oh, he just got his.
Yeah, he
genuinely did not think about it. We have talked about it on the show.
Valentine's
Genuinely did not even think about it.
Wow.
When I was picking out music this week.
Wow.
I like it.
So I'm wrong. Patrick, he is just, he's dead inside when it comes to Valentine's Day.
No
fun. I thought he was going to be like,
I was busy. I was doing I've been working all weekend.
I know you have.
And so I was not thinking about anything else. It was just head down, go forward. And then you're like, oh, that is Tuesday. We got Top of the Charts too. I don't have to worry about it.
Okay. You can say that when you're single. When you can't say that when you're in a relationship, like, oh, man, I've been working hard. I'm working hard.
Been grinding on this
grinding.
thing.
I forgot all about it. I ain't do that.
Yeah.
Nope.
No,
Yeah,
you
it's
better-
not gonna
I did
fly.
see. I went to HEB last night. I was like, why is it packed tonight?
Yep.
There's no parking, and I'm like, oh, it's everyone last minute.
Mhm. Why is there a sausage festival around here? All these dudes just hanging out in the grocery store.
I do know last year on Valentine's Day, I went to HEB at night, and I saw a lot of pineapples in shopping carts. So
There you go.
that's your thing. Apparently,
There you
HEB
go.
is the spot.
You know what? Honestly, I ain't mad at that kind of love either. You know what I mean? That's just sharing the love with everybody. I ain't mad at that either. Yeah, I imagine the grocery store is never more packed with dudes than before the Super Bowl and before Valentine's Day.
Yep.
If you go look at demographically, break down the days of I don't know, whatever your local shopping mart, HEB, that's what we shopping at. I get more dudes are in the supermarket on that right before Valentine's Day and right before Super Bowl, because that's when they're cooking all their stuff. Am I missing a day?
No, you good.
Memorial Day, because everybody's barbecuing. So
Yeah,
they
4th
get
of July.
4th of July. Yeah, getting meat and
Yeah,
stuff.
about barbecue
So
days.
it's like 4 or 5 days where it's like, why are these dudes in here?
Yep.
When I was single, I used to go to the grocery store. Matter of fact, speaking of, I used to go to the grocery store when I was a single man. And, hey, pick up. That was one of my favorite pickup
I was going to
spots.
say you was picking up more than groceries.
I'm telling you, man, it's
Yeah.
a great spot. It was so underrated. It's still underrated. Because you think about it, you learn so much about a person by just what's in that damn cart. You know all about her. I know if she's healthy. I know if she likes to, what kind of treat she likes, or if she's eating way too many carbs. You know what I mean? I know all of that. Just by looking in the cart, man, you get it all.
I like it.
You get it
I like
all,
it.
man. All right, anyway. She know how to cook. If I know she know how to cook. If she ain't getting all them pre-prepared meals, she's getting the actual meat. Like, damn, girl, you going home and cooking. I like that. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, you nothing know
Build
not.
it. Build it.
All right. We'll talk a lot about love, relationships, and Valentine's Day, of course, all throughout the show. You can be a part of the show. You're the most important part of this thing, the heartbeat of it. On the Specs text line, 512-337-3776. That is the number to the Specs text line. You also can reach out to us via Twitter. My man Harge at HardballHarge. Patrick Davis, the real MVP at It's Patrick Davis in the Twitterverse. I'm at Rod Davis in the Twitterverse. All right, gentlemen. I guess I've stalled enough. I didn't really want to talk about it, but we got to talk about it. Let's get to it.
Are you sure you don't want to talk more about Valentine's Day?
You see your boy, I got started about
My
10
man got
minutes.
sidetracked.
I was filibustering over here, all right? You might want to get the Texas
And nobody
back.
was stopping you.
Exactly. Y'all like, what? Oh, grocery store? Keep going.
Oh, that's a great point, Rod.
Go
Please
on.
expand.
Yeah. All right, Texas loses to Texas Tech on the road, 74-67. And it's, it's the Big 12. It's the Big 12. So as we know, you can lose any game on any given night in the Big 12. But it is a little disappointing because one of the things that we've talked about on this show that's become kind of there's a character flaw of the team is the slow start and the kind of, I don't know, it seems discombobulated first halves for them at times, and it came back to haunt them once again, Harch, in this matchup.
Yeah, it was one of those games that you sat there and you were looking at it and you were like, why is this happening again? And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that the lack of execution on the offensive side of the ball. Now, we can also talk about the fact that it didn't look like they were playing any kind of defense. It looked really bad on the defensive end. I thought a bright spot during that game was Dylan DeSue. He was fighting for all the rebounds. He was battling through there. There was a couple times that he was open for a shot. They didn't pass it to him, and then they did pass it to it. He knocked it down. There were so many things that you could take away and say, okay, I'm glad to see that. I'm glad to see that. The main thing is, to your point, Rod, is the fact that the game always seems to – they try to speed themselves up when there's no need to speed themselves up. They're playing this up-and-down basketball game, which at times is a necessity. But at the beginning of the game, the fact that you're down there just jacking up shots and not working the ball around to get a good shot is a problem to me. There's times where you do have to do that. I get it. I understand. I've watched the game for a very long time, but there are times where it's better to try to run an offense and execute certain things as opposed to, all right, let me see if Marcus Carr is going to get going. And we can look at the box score and say, Marcus Carr had a great game. Oh, great. But there were so many things that I thought that he was failing on as well as a leader on this team, as opposed to watching some of the other players that did something. Okay. That offense for Texas Tech, when that one guard started really – Harmon started getting it going from the very beginning.
Dude.
And he shot the ball, went to the bottom. Shot the ball, went to the bottom. And me and my son was sitting there, and I was like, if he shoots this again and knocks this down, they may be in trouble on him. And he knocked it down. Well, then they tried to put a boxing one basically on him where Jabari Rice checks into the game and he's trying to guard him 94 feet. And he picks up a ticky-tacky foul that ended up coming back to hurt you later.
That was big, man.
Like, it's like, I understand you want to press him and you want to be close to him, but let's not foul him. And I was surprised that because most of the time those referees don't call that early. Like, if you're trying to face guard somebody and you're just really trying to be there, I could see them letting that go for a little bit because he's not impeding the play. But once you start moving around and you still got your body on him, they have to call that.
Yeah.
They have to call that.
It's obvious.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, Patrick, your thoughts? I heard Zay mention a really good point. I thought it was, man, I'm not trying to make excuses for Texas. Bad start. Hey, they lost that game on the road. That's a game you, I'm going to say you need to win, but it helped you out a lot to win that game in terms of keeping your number one seed hopes alive and winning the Big 12 regular season.
Yep.
He made a great point about and you talked about this yesterday too, by the way, Patrick, so I'll give you credit as well. They've had either injuries and different guys in the lineups. They just had a lot of different guys in and out of lineups, even in this game. That's why Devion Harmon ended up, going off because what was it? Who was out? Pop Isaacs.
Yeah, Pop Isaacs.
He ends up being out of the game. You talked to us, Daniel Bacho that's out too.
Yep.
And that if you're trying to get a scouting report together, a really accurate one about this team, it's not that easy. Because there have been a lot of different basically different groups and different lineups for them all year long.
Yeah, I mean, and
they're just starting to peak, by the way.
Yeah,
they're playing their best basketball.
Like, all of that's true, but in the real fact of this, they just played bad. They didn't come. They weren't ready to play. They probably left Austin thinking they were going to win this game. Mm-hmm. They came out on the court like they were going to win this game, and then immediately got punched in the face and never responded. And I mean, they fought back, but Timmy Allen didn't hit a field goal.
Yep.
Like, things like that cannot happen in games where he is a better player than anyone but Obanor on that other team. Obanor may be the only guy who can match up Timmy Allen. But the Texas has 5 starters and Jabari Rice, 6 guys on their roster, better than anyone on Texas Tech.
Yep.
Like, it just is. And the way, and Obanor's playing good, then he's that guy. But on that lineup that night, none of those guys, Obanor's the only guy who's a starting lineup for the Texas. The only guy.
Right.
That's so Tyson had to transfer because he couldn't get playing time, much less starting. He wasn't going to play on this team. And so this is when I talked about not playing down to your opponents, to playing your style of basketball, that means you got to come out and go, oh, no, we're better than them. We got to go play our game, and they'll have to play to us. Now we have to make adjustments because Harmon all of a sudden is going to act like he's good.
He was acting like he was acting like he was great.
Fake it till you make it there. Yeah, 21 in the first half.
Yeah. Now, one of those was a bank 3.
They still
keep
open.
Check a bank 3, but he was hitting some stuff where he was getting real lucky. But that's part of it. It's like, man, that doesn't matter. You still had a chance to win this game. If Timmy Allen plays okay, if you get Tyrese Hunter to play a little bit better in this game, Brock Cunningham, they were leaving him open. And look, he's been shooting way better. Yeah. And he hits him early, but he went 3 of 9.
Oh my God!
And when you're like, Brock Cunningham doesn't normally need to have 9 shots in a game.
Agreed.
And so I'm not faulting him because those are shots he should be taking. He's open. He needs to take those shots.
Knock him down too.
But it just everything about that game looked like they were not ready to play it mentally.
Yeah,
Looked like they were just like they thought this was. We said this is the easiest stretch of their lineup of their season, their Big 12 season. So you might as well. They came out and thought, okay, let's go through
somebody
these.
told them that.
Yeah,
Somehow somebody told them that. And
and they go, all right, we just played on Saturday. We whooped up on them. We're going to come whoop up. We're going to hang out all week. Dude, after we win this game, they're probably going to give us Tuesday, maybe Wednesday off. Rest up, man. It's going to be good. What are you going to have for dinner? Oh, man, we get back to town. It's in Lubbock. We'll have a good old time.
First in the Big 12.
In the Big 12. And at no point did they think, hey, these guys want to beat you really, really bad. They acted like they were going to win, and you can't do that. I mean, because this is what's going to happen. This is what happens when you get to the beginning of the Big 12 tournament. This is round 1 matchup.
Yep.
You're going to lose that round 1 matchup and drop a seed.
Because they're desperate. Texas
and then you're going to go up. You drop a seed. You play a
Yeah.
little bit better team in that first round, and they come at you, and they beat you up. Or you play in that second round, they beat you up. Like, this is how you lose in the first weekend of tournaments, is not being ready. Now, you shouldn't all freak out and everything else because one loss. But this was, hey, man, we knew that you were going to look past this game. I told you, you cannot look past this game, and then you did.
Well, they are trending in the wrong direction when it comes to starting a game. That is the thing that is really bothering me, is because you keep letting teams hang around. As remember, we talked about this before, and if you keep giving a team like that, especially on their home court, an opportunity to play in this game and think that they got a chance to win, that's exactly what they're going to do. And then you also take into a consideration, they were 10 of 17 from the free throw line. The other night, they were 24 of 25.
Then they set like a school record for consecutive free throws.
Consecutive free throws.
Like 24 or something like that.
So when you look at that.
But that goes to Patrick's point about the mental thing. They basically were patting themselves on the back about how great they were from the free throw line. Didn't focus on that in this game, and then it came back to haunt them.
Yeah, it definitely came back to haunt them, and that's something that they're going to get back into the lab. They're going to go to work and try to figure this stuff out. But now you're getting to this point in the season where this is just a little blip, but the trend is still the same. And when you talked about it before, it's the inconsistencies in which you play that is definitely going to hurt you later on down the road. We can look at it and say, okay, you got an opportunity to win a Big 12 championship. There's so many different people. You can have that regular season championship. But when you let a team like Texas Tech, which everybody's talking about, the multiple lineups that they had, the different people that was coming in, the big Maple is starting to get his legs underneath him. But the facts still remain, that was a Texas Tech team that you should have beaten. You should have beaten him, and you should have put it on. Because let's not forget, when they were playing here, Tech came out and they fumbled the bag in the second half. So they had Texas on the ropes, and maybe that's why they felt like, I got the confidence they're coming in our place. I think we can beat them, because we should have beat them. When you go back and look at the film, they were putting it on Texas at that time.
Yeah.
And they made the adjustments at halftime. Texas did, and then their scorers stopped scoring. Well, their scorers in this game kept scoring. And that was the biggest difference in the game.
And it's the third straight home win over a top 25 team for Tech. So to your point, Harsh, they're really confident how they can come out and play with almost any team, no matter who they are. And they're getting a chance to play at home in that really hostile environment there. But but to your point, the free throws were that was probably one of the most disappointing things. I wrote that down in my notes too. I mean, you're talking about all year long. You've been really good there. This is not something, obviously last game versus West Virginia, you were exceptional.
Exactly.
All right, 24
that was
straight.
Out of the norm.
But that, I mean, that you were consistently good all year, so you were great in that moment. But I mean, you're 31st nationally, and you're the best free throw shooting team in the Big 12, and I think you're shooting 82% as a team from the free throw line in Big 12 play. That was disappointing for them to go a 10 of 17.
Yeah.
And hell, Marcus Carr he was bad from the free throw line, and Serge Jabari Rice, him getting in foul trouble early, huge.
Yep.
I mean, you talked about how they made the adjustment with him as a defender, but it ended up blowing up in their face because he got in foul trouble. He only played 24 minutes. He has been spectacular for them down the stretch. What would you guys advise Texas do or Coach Terry do about the slow starts? It's obviously now it's more than a pattern. It's a trend.
Well, it's not just slow starts. It's really, really slow starts on the road. So you're not starting well at home, but a lot of those you're kind of catching up with in the middle of the first. Like you're catching up before the 10-minute mark. You're already figuring it out, and you've got to.
It's not sustained.
So it's like, hey man, they got up 6-0, and now it's 8-6 Texas, and so it's not a real slow start. But on the road, recently, I mean, Kansas takes them out. Kansas State, they have to come back by down double digits. I mean, like these are road games. You have 3 more home games left in this season. And then every other game you play is not in the Moody Center. So if you say, hey, man, we get 3 more shots and we pretty much have to win all these because this is where we clearly play better. But we have to be able to figure out a routine on the road to mentally get in the right mindset of the excitement and energy they get at home. So get that where they're feeling loose and they're feeling good, but also you're prepared and ready to go. And it's hard to do. But to get your team jacked up and ready to go, but focused, and I think there needs to be a change to what their pregame routine is.
Whatever it is, yeah.
Just because it's like, hey, man, whatever you're doing, you're coming out in the layup lines or whatever else, change the rotation of how you all are doing it. Change who's standing next to each other. I want y'all to have fun because you play better when you're having fun. But if whatever's working isn't working, because I think – y'all are too loose.
Too relaxed
to start, and then you get way too tense because you're getting beat.
Yeah.
And so you have to just change that mindset to come out and go, oh, no, let's punch them first instead of being on our back heels every single game.
Yeah, you got like 5. You got 5 games or so to solve it before you get we start approaching Big 12 tournament time.
I mean, you have one game to solve it.
Well, yes, Big 12. Yeah, you're right. No.
Because the end of the stretch is you still have Baylor. You're going to Baylor. Which that one, I mean, it's a short drive, so it doesn't even seem like a road game, but it's a road game.
Texas hasn't lost back-to-back games, though, so if they lose back-to-back games, then we know,
well, you get Oklahoma at home on Saturday.
Then you know they're regressing, yeah.
So Oklahoma at home on Saturday, that I'm not as worried about because they're going to have a lot of work. The problem is then after that, you go back on the road to Baylor, and that is where things start to get questionable because you have on the road to Baylor. I think you play Iowa State here, then on the road to Baylor, on the road to TCU, and then Kansas back here. I believe it's the end of the schedule. So that's a lot of games right there that are.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I know. The one texter says they should change the starting lineups for faster starts. Is that a possible?
No,
option?
because I get it. I don't think you want to change because Jabari Rice fits better in that second lineup. I think.
I agree with that, actually. He's been the best 6 man in the country.
Yeah, I like having him in that second lineup, and that's basically the main guy you're going to change because the other one is, hey, man, do we want to take out our rookie that we need, our freshman that we need to be good in Dylan Mitchell? Do we want to give him less playing time? No.
Well, I think people are probably thinking about Tyrese Hunter being the one.
No, but that's Jabari Rice. That's Jabari Rice.
Yeah.
And so I get it. I get that Tyrese Hunter is people are not – again, you need Tyrese Hunter to be good because at the end of the day – and I know defense wins championships, everything else. You have to hit threes. If Tyrese Hunter can get hot, then this becomes a way different ball game. Just the way the basketball works in 2023, you have to be able to hit threes. Tyrese Hunter is a guy that we know can do it. He needs to just get in the right mindset. If it comes down to it in the playoffs, then you play him 18 minutes a game, and you play Jabari Rice more minutes.
It's so weird. I feel like the Tyrese Hunter thing, Longhorn fan, and we know he's a great player. Obviously, Big 12 Freshman of the Year last year. I feel like waiting for Goodell. We keep waiting for him to be like, oh, no, it's going to – because I remember early on, we're like, oh, it'll happen. No need to worry about it. He has plenty of time to figure it out. Yeah. And they were like, oh, he's going to figure it out. He's just inconsistent. It's okay. He's going to figure it out. And once he decides to figure it out, oh, man, they're going to be unbelievable. So Jabari Rice and Marcus Carr, both those guys are having unbelievable years, and it just hasn't happened yet.
No.
And I feel like – I hope that it happens around tournament time because that's what everybody said, even his teammates. But if it doesn't happen, this team is susceptible in tournament play. We thought they could make a run in tournament play, as Hart has always said, because they got 3 veteran guards who all can step up and play really well. Well, right now they got 2. Let's be honest.
They do.
They got 2.
And I know, and this is something that always drives me up a wall in basketball. Is people are like, why is that guy still in the lineup? You're like, because you do not understand the drop-off between – like, do you really want Arterio Morris to be playing 30 minutes a game?
I'm with you.
Because that's who's going to be playing 30 minutes a game, Arterio Morris. And we don't know what he is. He is a complete crapshoot. And so I get the worry about it, but it's a little late in the season to say, hey, let's stick our freshman out there and knock this sophomore off, and then he's going to probably try and transfer again. And so the next year is completely shot because we're losing everybody. And then I think there's more sense in hoping that Tyrese Hunter can get it figured out. I know he's had issues in being in the right places off ball at times, which I think has played into everything else of getting his feet underneath him on shots. You just got to work with him.
I know.
The thing that everybody keeps looking at too is he was a defensive player of the year. I mean, freshman. He was on the all defensive team. He hasn't been playing good defense either. Like
he has, but not in the last 2 games.
Yeah, and again, is it because he shouldn't be having sea legs? He should be fine with that as far as conditioning, but he's also a guy that cramped up early in the year. Mm-hmm. So maybe they're doing some different things. The biggest thing for me is this is a one-off game. I'm not going to beat him up too much, but you have to figure out the beginning of the game.
Yeah, you do.
That's it. Just figure out the beginning of the game, and everything else will take care of itself.
No, you're right. It's we can nitpick and critique game to game, and it's usually something different. The one thing now we've identified, and I think all Longhorn basketball fans have, is that yes, we are at the point is now past being a pattern. Mm-hmm. It's past being a trend, I should say. Now it's a pattern that this team unfortunately, they have slow starts.
Correct.
For whatever reason. I don't think we've identified exactly what that is. That is Coach Terry's job.
That is.
So if we're talking about it, now I know Coach Terry is there talking about it, so he's got to figure that out. And, Patrick's right. If you don't want to mess with the lineup, then you got to mess with the routine.
Yep.
whatever that is.
I'm down with that.
You got to start experimenting, doing different things, whatever it may be. Hell, maybe move your film sessions to the pregame.
Right.
He's got great. Remember the film sessions that the team gets? So maybe we got a highlight reel prior to the game about how they're doing things really well in the game before or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's got to figure something out because if that continues, it's not only going to hurt them in the Big 12 tournament and down the stretch of the Big 12 because Patrick's right, on the road, it's even more glaring. But in the tournament, you're not gonna make a run if that continues.
No doubt.
So I mean. That's the only thing, really, they've been inconsistent scoring wise. They got a lot of different weapons that can step up and help them.
Yeah,
For sure.
and then still, you got to fix rebounding. Like, that rebounding difference was atrocious last night.
41 to 29?
Yeah, that's atrocious rebounding. I've been on that all year. You're just a bad rebounding team.
Mm-hmm.
And you've been lucky to be in games around the same rebounding as some of these, but you're a bad rebounding team.
Also, it's something else, though. The check character flaw number 2 of the team.
Check that out.
Yeah, a lot of edges for Texas Tech. 36 to 18 points in the paint edge, 72 on blocks. They were just so aggressive. They really were. And Texas, once you got to start digging yourself out the hole, it takes because they brought it within about 5.
Oh yeah, they were right there.
They were right there.
At one point they had a shot to tie it.
You're right.
Marcus Carr hit the front of the rim,
Yeah.
and then they got the rebound and went back and scored, and that was a huge swing of momentum right there. So, yeah, there were some opportunities. And then, of course, they kicked it to Tyrese Hunter. One time they left him open, kind of like they were doing for Brock Cunningham. They were like, go ahead and take that jumper.
Take that shot.
Because we'll take our chances. You know what I'm saying? We'll take our chances.
Tyrese.
Yeah.
We don't think you're going to make it, Tyrese. Yeah. And it turns out they were right.
They were right.
All right, we come back. We'll get into the Derek Carr news. The quarterback carousel in the NFL is already starting for the 2023 season. We'll talk about that. And Jonathan Gannon hired as the Cardinals head coach. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. My sentiments exactly. We'll come back and discuss it right here on Ball Don't Lie. 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Let me tell you about my friends over at Hot Cat Tequila, my favorite new tequila. Everybody knows the cat stands for cinnamon, agave, and tequila, and the recipe is just as simple and delicious. It's just cinnamon, agave, nectar, and tequila. That's why it's so light and so smooth. Hot Cat Tequila is a tequila lover's dream, and if you're not a fan of tequila, Hot Cat Tequila will make you a fan of tequila. It'll turn any event into a party, and every party feels like a celebration. So celebrate and turn up with Hot Cat Tequila. Once you try Hot Cat, you can't go back to that old cinnamon whiskey or that cheap tequila you ordered rounds of when you were just trying to get the party started. So turn up your party, turn up your festivities with Hot Cat Tequila. No football watch party is complete without Hot Cat Tequila. It's the perfect way to pregame for the big game. As a matter of fact, that's how I pregame for the big game this past weekend. Or concerts, festivals, or night on the town with family and friends. Hot Cat Tequila is best served cold for a quick round of shots, so just keep it in the freezer. Or you can sip on the rocks when you're just trying to hang out, put something on the grill, or just trying to chill. Visit cattequila.com. That's cattequila.com to find a store near you that sells Hot Cat Tequila or to find a bar near you that serves Hot Cat Tequila. Toast and turn up this new year with Hot Cat Tequila. All right, welcome back to Ball Double Live right here on 104.9 The Horn. Top of the charts Tuesday. We play jams that reached the top of the Billboard charts on this day in history. And I found out from Patrick, nothing Valentine's Day
You know what?
themed at
I was
all.
wrong. I looked ahead. There is a song
That could be interpreted
Yes.
as a Valentine's Day
Yes.
love song?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Just in
That
case y'all were
could
thinking.
be, yeah.
It could
No,
be.
I think it is. I think it is a Valentine's Day. I'm guessing it's why he was number one in the charts this day.
Because okay. All right. So you're saying like, it's a great hookup song or a
No.
baby
No, you'll
making
see it in a
song?
minute. It'll play in a minute. You'll see.
Okay. I mean, anything can be a great hookup song.
Yeah.
So how,
I don't know. I'm gonna play
Feel
this.
how tipsy you are.
I'm gonna play this, and you tell me if it is or not.
this is a great hookup song if you're tipsy enough.
Hello.
And the time is right.
Hello.
All right.
Let me be myself.
As a matter of fact, actually it does fit. All right, let's get to the NFL news, notes, and nuggets. Bunch of them out there. Let's start with Derek Carr, gentlemen.
Yep.
Following 9 seasons with the Raiders, he has been released Tuesday, which would have, if he wasn't released, it would have guaranteed him $40 million in future earnings under his previous contract. So he is now a free agent. Guys, what do we think? What teams do we think are going to be inquiring or interested in Derek Carr's services? I'll start and just say the entire NFC South.
100%.
Right? Like every
Yes.
team in the NFC South needs a
100%.
quarterback, don't they?
Yes.
Tampa Bay, Atlanta, Carolina.
The only team I would say would not necessarily need one is because they drafted DeRitter in the
that's
first
true.
round. So they're going to try not first round. They're going to try to make him their quarterback.
Yeah,
That's
I think.
true.
I don't think the Falcons are going to look at him for
Yeah.
Ritter. I mean, technically the Panthers have Corral, but he's coming off an injury, so
Yeah.
I think you still basically have another rookie year with him.
I think that also you got to look at the NFC East too. You look at the NFC East, the Washington Commanders. That's a team to kind of pay attention to. The Panthers, obviously.
Commanders have said
Wright.
Sam Howell's their guy, I believe.
That was before this happened.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? You can go back on your word.
And they
when it
got
comes to
Taylor
the-
Heineke.
Exactly.
I like Taylor Heineke more than I like Sam Howell. Actually.
and they're probably gonna walk. Both of them are, well, not Sam Howell. Sam Howell will still be there. But if you want to win and try to win right now, you bring in Derek Carr. I think he's a common voice, and Derek Carr has already dealt with a lot of adversity in Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Now he can come and deal with more adversity in Washington and deal with that disruptive and corruptive organization, but he'll know how to handle it.
Yeah.
And they have wide receivers and they got a good running back.
Another team that could win, the Jets. And
Yeah.
I know they're
Yeah.
all in. They're all in on Aaron Rodgers right now. They're apparently going all trying to get him. But if Aaron Rodgers does not work out, that is somebody you look at and say, man, you got wide receivers, we got everything else. We need a veteran presence in the locker room. We need some things to get it through, and Zach Wilson ain't the guy. So maybe there, and then, of course, the Saints, because they've already talked to him once.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Yeah, like I said, I think every team in NFC South should at least consider it. And I don't give a damn if it's the Falcons or not. You should consider it.
Yeah, I mean, the Saints were the only team that met with him before
Yeah.
before the deadlines and everything.
But
And
wasn't
then-
that because of the trade, though? They said that's the only one that he was open to talk to.
Well, and a part of that too was that Saints were like, "Hey, we're interested in. We know if we make a trade, then we get him, and we don't have to go through
Right.
competing with other teams." And I think they called him in and were like, "Hey, man, would you be okay with taking like half? Because
Yeah.
we don't want to pay you 40,
No,
and if we make the trade, we owe you 40."
No, one thing we do know is that the quarterback carousel, the domino effect, it ends up, or the butterfly effect, if you will, ends up affecting a lot of other teams who are in the market for quarterbacks who have quarterback instability. So if Aaron Rodgers ends up also being a part of this, remember, he's in his darkness retreat now. I assume that was post-Super Bowl darkness retreat. No way he's
he
going
said it's the end of this week. He said he's going to
Yeah,
end
he
of
was on
this
Pat
week.
That's why I said
McAfee
it's gonna be
today
a
to say it's
post.
not
Yeah,
gone
it'll be a
yet.
post-Super Bowl. That's why I said post-Super Bowl darkness retreat. No
Yeah.
way he's going to do it during the Super Bowl. So after that happens, then he will reveal if he's going to play or not. And there are a lot of people that believe if he's going to play again, that this could be the season they trade Aaron Rodgers. Because you want to get
Yep,
something for him
yep,
before
yep.
Aaron Rodgers decides to retire and be like, oh, no, I'm done forever. And if that's the case, then that'll be a huge, factor, variable in the quarterback carousel. And then there are also some of the people that believe that the Lamar Jackson situation right now still unresolved. Yes, they want to franchise tag him, but man, we know franchise tagging your starting quarterback.
Yeah, that's
Bad.
rough. That's
Yeah.
bad. That's bad.
That's bad karma, man.
Yeah, and which is why my
That's
man
bad
is
karma.
hurt right now.
Exactly.
You know what I'm
he can
saying?
be hurt again.
Yeah, I'm like, man, that knee just don't feel right.
So some people believe that could end up being a situation where there could be a blockbuster trade there. Jets, Jets have been mentioned. Falcons have been mentioned, and teams that might be interested. So we don't know where the quarterback carousel is going to land, but right now you got some big time names in it. Derek Carr's just the first.
Would you trade Zach Wilson right now to go get Derek Carr? Well,
Yeah.
you don't have to now because he's a
Yeah,
free
but
agent.
nobody wants Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
But
That's a problem.
But
No,
like
but-
anybody else, you might be able to. There
Get
might have been
something
some
for him.
people that were looking at him and think that, you know as well as I do, everybody thinks they can fix whatever somebody else has just because of the arm talent that he has.
if you're Sean McVay right now, and you know Matt Stafford's got 1-2 years left, maybe. And you've already brought in a Baker Mayfield potentially, just experimenting with quarterbacks that you could resuscitate.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't doubt if he's like, I can get him for pennies.
Yeah,
I'll get him
if I get him for
I'll get him
pennies.
for pennies
Yeah.
because they just want to get rid of him. And they end up signing Derek Carr, and they want to get rid of him. I'll take him.
Yeah.
I might end up turning him into the next Jared Goff, and then all of us win. So
That's
I
what
don't
I'm
know.
saying. Like,
I'm
they
with
think
you.
everybody
Yeah.
thinks they can fix it.
Everybody believes they can fix it.
Yeah.
They're very arrogant about their
Exactly.
ability to fix the quarterback.
That's
Yeah.
why they at that level.
And I will tell everybody who, when you get in these hypotheticals for Lamar Jackson, remember, whoever is going to trade for him, you have to look at the owner who is willing to put up a fully guaranteed contract. That is really one of the biggest points of this is all these teams can say, we'll give up 5 first-round picks for him. None of that matters if Lamar won't sign on the dotted line.
Yeah.
So that's where you have to go into only a few teams I think are willing to put a lot on the line of here's this giant contract that's fully guaranteed because we cannot find a quarterback any other way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that ATX Jax fans bring up this scenario. He says, Carr to Baltimore, Lamar to Miami, Tua medically retires. If Tua does, and I don't know if it's going to happen, but if he does retire, or the Miami Dolphins start thinking, man, we don't know if he's going to make it through a season.
Yeah.
We like your system. We like the, the supporting cast, everything where it's going. We just don't think he's going to make it. Should we reset at quarterback right now? Or just give you a temporary solution and then maybe we'll draft one later on? Because I think they really like what Mike McDaniels is doing. And I think they may decide, let's just rebuild around another quarterback, not Tua, because he can't make it through a season and we can't afford for Skylar Thompson to be out there starting playoff
Right,
games for
right.
us. I don't know. That's another one,
No,
too.
yeah. I don't think they have the draft capital and the money to pay Lamar Jackson and get Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
So that's why they'd be further out of the consideration.
But even the Derek Carr
Who would
thing, like,
not
they
want to
could-
see him on that team?
Well, I know, just considering like they
'Cause
may
that track meet.
decide, you know what, man, Tua, it ain't. We're moving on. We want to trade
Yeah.
him, or he's gonna retire, and we're just gonna go get Derek Carr for the time being, stopgap solution, and then we'll figure out the quarterback thing in a couple of years.
Yeah.
When we can stockpile some draft capital.
And let's take 4th or 5th round draft quarterbacks. Let's go take a guy later in the
Exactly.
and see
Great point.
see if they come out and see if we can find somebody that'll fit.
I saw an interview with Tua Tagovailoa just the other day, and Tua did not seem like at any part of it that he was going to not play football.
I agree, but
Everything about
Miami
him.
may decide, man, we don't like
Right,
how
right.
fragile
Oh, correct.
he is.
Correct.
Even Bucky Godbolt been saying for 3 years, and now I'm starting to believe Bucky. I thought it was a bit before, but it's like Bucky's been saying for 3-4 years he doesn't like the way Tua falls. That he can't fall.
Never-
he said he
yeah.
falls very clumsily, and he doesn't like the way he falls. It's going to lead to injury. I swear the guy got injured falling, and Bucky was right.
Yeah.
So I'm starting to think Bucky knows football. Like, this guy's going to get injured again because he doesn't know how to fall. He's been saying it since he watched him in college.
So
that he
needs
can't
to,
fall.
So Tua needs to go to the WWE.
And learn how to
Or
Learn how to fall.
He needs to go to baseball. He needs to go to baseball and learn how to slide.
That's
Well,
true.
it's like the big problem is that he hits his head on
He
the
does.
hits
Yeah.
his head on the
Yeah.
field every
Yeah.
time.
Exactly. It's like, bro,
And that's what's going to end his career before anything else.
Yeah.
Is every single time he hits his head on the field from now on, he's out the rest of the game.
yeah, learn how to brace your
Because
fall.
the NFL is just going to be like, we just saw his head hit the ground again. Get him
Yeah.
out.
He gets another concussion next year.
Oh,
People
yeah,
gonna
he's
have to
done.
having that conversation.
Well, it's
about,
going to be
bro, you
over.
gotta-
It's
you
going
gotta
to be done no matter what. I
Hey,
mean,
it's-
he may not have any choice.
Yeah, just and nothing against him. It's like you just may be more susceptible than others. That's
And your
everybody's body
quality
is
of
different.
life is not going to be good
Yeah,
from there.
yeah. So I wouldn't doubt that becomes a realistic conversation too a little bit later on. But quarterback carousel, still in the NFL, and Derek Carr will be the first domino to drop. We just don't know where it's going. But it could be a number of different places.
If I was a betting, not a bet. Well, I am a betting man. You
Do
know
it.
What I'm saying?
Give me your betting favorite right now.
My betting favorite starts with New Orleans. It definitely starts
I
with
agree
New
with
Orleans.
that. I like that New Orleans
But
one.
the other one I would look at is definitely Carolina. I'm definitely looking at Carolina because Frank Reich is a quarterback coach, and he's dealt with how many? Rod, didn't he have a different one every single year?
He had like 6 different starting quarterbacks in his time there.
They have
I
a great
believe.
running game. They have a great running game. Whether if they sign one of those
Chuba
running
and Deontay Foreman. Yeah.
and then you think about some of those young wide receivers that he has. He's a good talent, and he makes people better around him because he's gonna put the work in.
Yeah, I just wonder if he's worried about falling into the same vicious cycle that he did with Indy, that he's just recycling quarterbacks year after year.
I don't think
he brings in Derek Carr.
I don't think he'll do that anymore. I think he saw the track record, got him fired.
Well, I know. That's what I'm saying. I agree. But if you bring in a Derek Carr and the next quarterback you bring in cannot be a stopgap. The problem with Indy, he has stopgap, and it's not all his fault because Andrew Luck retired on him.
Yep.
But then he never found the quarterback to invest in to become a franchise quarterback. Part of your job as a head coach when you come in is to find the franchise quarterback. That's like half the damn job.
Yeah, and I could think Derek Carr is also going to have an issue with going to a Carolina or a Washington where they have a rookie quarterback in waiting that they like. And it's Sam Howell, and he goes, dude, I don't want to go there for a year and then you bench me. I don't mind competition, but if your thought process is we need a stopgap, I don't want to be a stopgap. So I can go to New Orleans where they don't have anybody else. They have Taysom Hill, but he's running in.
Well, he's a utility player.
So
yeah.
they don't have a rookie that they're trying to put into the system right away. So maybe I can go there and then be their quarterback for 4 or 5 more years.
Exactly. And retire. I think he wants to go somewhere and retire
and
too.
try and play and try and win there versus I go to Carolina and then, all right, well, now you're going to try and trade me again because you guys now think that Matt Corral is a guy.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think he wants to be a stopgap quarterback for the rest of his NFL career.
Yeah.
I think he wants somebody to invest in him. He's like, no, I will invest in you. I'll invest in the community. He seems like that kind of guy, meaning he seems like a good guy. That he just wants to go somewhere and just give it everything he has and let the chips fall where they may.
That would lead you more towards the Saints or the Jets.
I think Hart is right. I think it's the Saints right now.
Yeah. I mean, they're the only team we talked to him, and apparently he was just like, we don't want to pay you $40 million. But he's like, cool, they waived me. Now I'm not going to make it. What can you offer me now?
I'll give you a stat about Derek Carr because I've been doing some research, some deep dives. If you look at fourth quarter comeback and game-winning drive opportunities and then look at the success rate of those opportunities, among the starting quarterbacks in the NFL, not many quarterbacks have a better success rate than Derek Carr when it comes to fourth quarter comebacks and game-winning drive opportunities. He's got a 40. This is at the end of this past season, so it doesn't include the playoffs. By the way, he wasn't in the playoffs, but it doesn't include the playoffs either for the quarterbacks ahead of him. But he won 45.3% of his games with an opportunity for a fourth quarter comeback or game-winning drive. Pretty damn good.
Yeah.
The only quarterbacks ahead of him in those situations, Lamar Jackson currently, Matt Stafford, strangely enough, Josh Allen, Tua Tagovailoa is right there, Jimmy Garoppolo, Patrick Mahomes, and Tom Brady. Everybody else in those situations, fourth quarter comeback or game-winning drive opportunities has a lower success rate, a lower hit rate, I should say, than Derek Carr. Dak Prescott is right there, by the way, 45.2. He's right behind Derek Carr. For all you Dak haters, fourth quarter comeback, game-winning drive opportunities. This is not the end of last season, so it doesn't include the playoffs. He's 45.2. Not many quarterbacks ahead of him either.
Thank you. But everybody keep sending in here that we need to trade Dak. I don't know if y'all been listening to Jerry Jones.
We have like 5 texts saying trade Dak.
Y'all need to quit.
Yeah. Again, Dallas Cowboys cannot trade Dak Prescott due to his salary and the way the salary cap works, collective bargaining agreement. It is not really possible to trade Zach.
Quit wasting your text.
Come back in a year and a half,
yes,
and we can have this discussion again. It is a real discussion in a year and a half unless he signs an extension. Other than that,
Jerry has been telling you he's going to sign an extension.
Yeah. And a year and a half, we might be talking about a new head coach for the Cowboys. So
exactly.
Stay tuned. All right, stay tuned anyway. We'll come back. We got the flex on the other side right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn.
Mike Harge here, and I want to talk to you about the League Kitchen and Tavern. The League Kitchen and Tavern specializes in chef-inspired comfort food made from scratch at all 4 Austin area locations. That means Avery Ranch, Bee Cave, Belterra, and, of course, Lakeway. Nothing is more comforting than fresh burgers and fries. The League's gourmet hamburgers are ground in-house and made from scratch. On Mondays, you have Burger Mondays, where you can get 2 burgers for the price of 1. That right there is just dine in only. And right now, the League is offering a trip to the Big Easy inspired menu for the month of February. I know it's Valentine's Day, and it might be a little late for you to go out there, but I will go over there and try just in case, because you get to enjoy the Creole Cobb salad and the stuffed pork chop in Louisiana cuisine at its best. So do yourself a favor. Go to leaguekitchen.com today and find out more. Like I said, there's 4 Austin area locations. Whether you want lunch or dinner, dine in or pick up, you can have a good time. Go to leaguekitchen.com. That is leaguekitchen.com.
Wow. I don't know, but I'm feeling it. I don't know. Maybe I'm in a Valentine's Day mood. I think it's it's got a Valentine's Day vibe to it.
I mean, the song is called Love's Theme by the
Okay.
Love Unlimited Orchestra.
That's fantastic. This is
Is this Love
fantastic.
Boat?
No, this is Barry White's group.
Oh.
But Barry White doesn't sing on this, but this is like his orchestra that he would do stuff with.
Oh yeah. Okay. That's what I'm saying. That's why it does have that kind of vibe. I'm waiting on the deep sounds.
The baritones of the Barry
yeah,
White.
Barry White. There you go. Nah, that's pretty good. I like that. All right, there you go. So that's the one maybe Valentine's Day song in the top of the charts Tuesday jams that you have.
I mean,
today.
look, we can try and make all of them Valentine's Day songs.
No, we don't have
I'm
to.
sure we can find reasons that they are.
No, we don't have to at all. But
I can
this
tell
one
you,
does fit.
the last one is going to be great for that, but
The last one?
The last one.
Okay. Is it hip hop? The last one?
no.
Okay.
It should be.
I don't know. I'm
It's
just
that
throwing,
time of the year.
throwing stuff at the wall and seeing if it sticks. All right, go to FLXATX.com. They are not just throwing stuff at the wall, but plenty of it is sticking. You can go check it out. Got great content over there at FLXATX.com. Go to FLXATX on all of your social media platforms as well. And shout out to WWE legend Mark Henry and his son Jacob.
That's right.
You told me about this, Harge. He's going to be representing for state, right?
Yeah, he's representing for state. He just had a big win in the regional, and now he's headed to state. And him and his teammates are headed that way. Shout out to them, and best of luck to all those participants. You know, I got a chance to meet with Jacob a couple times, and Mark has been so gracious to let us share some time together.
Yeah, it's cool.
But the thing that impressed me the most was his will to and his want to. And it's a little bit more than just being the son of Mark Henry. It's more of him trying to forge his own path. And he's a very humble kid. He's very soft-spoken. But when you get that fire lit in him, that is what's been driving him. And what drove him last year was there was a kid that beat him in the state tournament that beat him. And he didn't care that if the kid did not care if he won state. He didn't care if he won nationals. He just wanted that nugget and that little mark on his belt to say that I beat Mark Henry's son. Yeah. And so Jacob told me that story, and that has been his motivational fire right now for him to get back to state. So shout out to him for living out his dream, number one, forging his own way, but most importantly, now he gets a chance to go back to try to right that wrong that he felt he got last year.
Yeah, he's obviously a great athlete. I mean, it's just in sports that are not necessarily all traditional sports because he does wrestling, or at least down here, they're not his most popular sports. Of course, he's a great football player, but does the powerlifting too.
Yes, he does.
Right?
Strong,
does
man.
powerlifting and wrestling.
Strong.
That's a great combination for a D lineman.
For sure.
Teaching
Teaching them how to use them hands as well, too.
Yeah. Wrestling, so that's leverage, right? That's your center of gravity. Then you're a power lifter, so that's about your power, your explosion.
Yep.
And then, of course, it's football. And he loves football, too, by the way.
Does love football.
I'd love to know which sport he actually likes more, considering he's really good at all of them, pretty much. Powerlifting, wrestling, and football.
I know.
I think football is his passion.
Think
but
football is
I
definitely
don't, But yeah, I've heard him talk about the game. So,
But I guarantee you at some point, he will be a wrestler. He'll be in some wrestling.
I believe, yeah. Even whether he decides to pursue football as far as he can go, and who knows how far they'll go, I think you're right. I think when it's all said and done, he has a persona, and he ain't Jacob Henry anymore.
Exactly.
I don't know what
He'll
it's going to
be. Sexual Chocolate Jr.
Yeah, the sequel.
The sequel.
Sexual Chocolate, the sequel.
And
whatever
you see it
may
so
be.
many times in professional wrestling where the family traits
No doubt.
go all the way down. The lineage is so strong.
Legacies are big in
and
wrestling.
he may be on that track. He's already done some stuff with Rey Mysterio Jr. They were at an event, and he was part of one of the promos.
Wow.
And it was really cool to see him do that because you said it. It's the personality. It's the personality. And he's so athletic already that you can already see him headed in that direction.
I like that.
Yeah.
That might be plan B or C.
Exactly.
For the young man. He's got a lot of great things on the horizon for him. All right, that's the flex. FLXATX.com. Go to FLXATX on all of your social media platforms. We come back, Super Bowl review. All right, we'll dig into some of the other topics and some of the other details surrounding the big game that we did not have a chance to dive into yesterday. All that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Welcome back. The Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a top of the charts Tuesday and also Valentine's Day edition of Ball Don't Lie. Top of the charts Tuesday, we play jams that reach the top of the Billboard charts on this day in history. And Patrick, who is dead inside when it comes to Valentine's Day, didn't really make it a Valentine's Day theme top of the charts Tuesday. But
Can you
I like
complain
this
about
jam.
this?
No, I'm not complaining at all.
This is some classic Ohio players.
I'm not complaining at all. This is a jam. And you always do a great job with music. I'm just saying for those out there who are expecting Valentine's Day themed songs, we're not getting that Valentine's Day themed songs. I appreciate top
No,
choices.
I mean, maybe have Texas basketball show up and I'll be in a better mood today.
Yeah, and also Patrick's not into Valentine's Day, and a lot of you out there are not into Valentine's Day, and I totally get it. I totally understand it. Even some people in relationships hate Valentine's Day. It's just one of those things. Either you like it or you don't. I don't really care about it. It ain't one of my things. But all the people I date, and women I date, but people, all right, yeah. But they've all been
Dated.
dated.
Don't say the ones you date. You know, Freudian slip right there.
It was not a Freudian slip. All right, just a mistake. I misspoke.
Misspoke. There
I'm
it is,
not
misspoke.
currently dating any women. Actually, no. I take that back. I'm dating a woman. I'm dating my wife.
That's right. You're supposed
Yes.
to.
I'm still dating her. I
dig
got
it.
some flowers today.
I dig it.
But yeah, but they're all into Valentine's Day, so I've kind of gotten into. I've been programmed. No, I did. Every time in a relationship, I make a big deal out of it, whether they want me to or not. And you don't have to do that, but
That's why the success is so good for you, man.
just make sure you
good
treat.
track record.
Yeah, make them feel special on this
Yeah.
special day. And
I
you know,
like it.
Patrick's like, F this damn day.
F them picks.
F them pigs, F Valentine's Day.
flowers.
All right, but he's not playing any jams. I will ask you this, though, because I've heard, I heard Zay and Chad. Zay was playing a lot of what could be classified as hookup songs.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe baby making music, whatever you want to call it.
That's where I would lean.
Here's my theory on baby making music and the greatest hookup songs of all time. I believe the GOAT of hookup songs is Marvin Gaye because he's got two that are probably in everybody's top 10, if not top 5.
Yeah, it might be.
Right?
Yeah.
He's got sexual healing and Let's Get It On. And if one of them is bad, definitely that. But I think both are probably creep into everybody's top 10 of hookup songs or all-time great baby making jams.
I would also go out there and jump on the Keith Sweat bandwagon when it
You
comes
gonna
to
play
that.
Keith Sweat to Marvin Gaye?
I'm gonna say that some.
You wanna do that?
Some.
That's like comparing Randall Cunningham to Patrick Mahomes.
I do
I'm
want
not
to do it
joking.
because it
I'm not
depends on
joking.
what you're listening to.
What is that?
Some people have a different flow.
You can do it, but it's
Everybody
like,
can look at Marvin Gaye and say, "Oh yeah, Marvin is the man," but other people can say Luther. Other people can say,
But I just said top 10. What Keith Sweat does he have two that would be in most people's top 10 all time great jams?
"Make It Last Forever." You don't like that one?
Not in the top 10.
Okay.
Top 10?
Okay.
You got Keith Sweat
In your top 10 versus everybody else's top 10 doesn't mean that everybody likes the same music.
You got Keith Sweat and Marvin Gaye in the same category.
Maybe some people don't listen to Marvin Gaye.
You got, but this is Keith Sweat for him is nostalgia as well.
I listen. I remember Keith Sweat.
No, I know,
great,
but Keith Sweat
I
was
don't-
recording this stuff when Harge was
In his
the
prime.
man in the 254.
But that's my point. Keith Sweat is not transcendent. People still know Marvin Gaye to this day. Most kids don't know Keith Sweat. They have no idea. And you can play
After
that song
Zay
for Chad.
played that
You
today.
can play that song for Chad. Chad didn't know who the hell Keith Sweat was. You play Marvin Gaye for Chad. Chad go, oh, I know that.
Yeah, that's.
No, you can. I'm saying you play that same game, but everybody out there in your Keith Sweat theory will die on the freaking vine.
See, this is
'Cause,
the-
I'ma jump
nobody-
on that
'cause
vine
most
with
people-
him then.
Most people won't know that, but
Yeah.
I'm saying in terms of being transcendent, Marvin Gaye stuff has transcended for like 50 years now.
Yeah, I'll go with and Harge. I'm with you is
Yeah.
because I'm an old soul. So when I play music, and then but I was with girls my age that they would be like, "Do you have anything?" And I'm like, "It's Prince." Like you don't like Prince?
Because Prince
They're
is
like,
definitely
Prince is
in
great.
the mix.
Prince
yeah.
is great.
Prince is
Yeah.
up there, and whoever just said R. Kelly, get out of here.
Yeah,
I
we're
mean,
not
come
allowed
on
doing
now.
that no more. We're not playing any of that.
Come on
no more.
now.
And listen,
Look, R. Kelly had some good stuff.
He
Oh,
has
he
a-
had
R.
a
Kelly
lot
did
of
have
bangers.
some. I'm not gonna say R. Kelly's not. Here's some of his songs are in there. I'll just say that you're not allowed to praise R. Kelly's talent anymore.
Look, I'm not putting R. Kelly on the
You have
playlist.
to move R.
You
Kelly
move on.
around.
I'm not putting R. Kelly on the playlist because I don't want to be done and then that play and then have to have a conversation afterwards about why this is on my playlist.
That is true.
Patrick, I really love the way you put your playlist together, but why is R. Kelly still on there?
Patrick, do you
Okay.
believe you can fly still? Yeah, it was on Space Jam. Come on.
That should not be the jam you're playing for R. Kelly.
I know.
But if you are deciding to play R. Kelly, but
At
you
my
shouldn't
wedding,
even
I
play it,
played-
I guess.
At my wedding, we danced to "I'll Give All My Love to You" as well.
That's a good jam.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so I guess the question is, give me your the artist who you think gives you the best hookup songs.
Ooh, yeah. There's a lot.
And honestly, you could argue, unfortunately, the guy we were just talking about, he used to be
He was on that
considered
list.
like a goat in that category now.
it was
you know.
like, man, that boy did his thing on that thing right
Drop
there.
on like Deshaun Watson. Anyway, anyway, let's talk about Super Bowl, gentlemen, here. But anyway, yeah, Valentine's Day. Stop missing R. Kelly, please, on the Spec Sex line. Give me other people other than R. Kelly, all right?
They're doing the R. Kelly
Oh,
from
great.
Dave Chappelle skit.
Yeah, and if we're going to talk Luther Vandross getting some love on
for
it, too.
sure. Luther definitely gets some
Big
love.
Luther, though.
Not skinny Luther.
Not skinny Luther.
skinny
That's
Luther.
also a difference. Yeah, we got Luther Vandross got like a ton of these. Yeah, skinny Luther is not. No,
Yeah,
he's not the
wasn't
one.
Yeah, and
He was
Barry,
not the
Barry
same.
White's not top 10. Like he doesn't have 2 in the top 10, but
wrong.
he's got at least like 3 in the top 30.
I do. Yeah, Barry White's got a few. And you're right about that. Barry White's from Galveston. Isn't he like Texas? He's from
Yes.
Galveston, I
Yeah.
believe. That's why I love Barry White
Because
too.
every Barry White song is that song. Like
It
everyone.
is. That
And
is
even
true.
if it's unintentional, it's because of his voice. Automatically, you start looking at him a little bit different.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah, it's
There's no
strictly-
song that cannot be seductive and I'm a little sexual when Barry White's
Right.
speaking to you, even to men.
Exactly.
I don't even
You
know
like,
if
man,
heterosexual, homosexual, LGBTQ plus, don't matter.
WXYZ.
If you listen to Barry White,
Yeah.
he's seducing you.
No, for sure.
I don't care what you identify with. He's talking to you and
You
he's trying to get it on.
You start
Shizzle.
unbuttoning your shirt.
Yeah. I'm like, am I supposed to?
Oh,
be
what
doing
was
that?
happening?
I'm like, wait a minute.
Why am I getting all heated
why
around
is
here?
it warm in here?
Why are my shoes off?
Oh, Teddy Pendergrass. That's good.
Yeah.
Teddy P.
Turn them off.
Teddy P
Yeah.
is in that conversation
What about
too.
Boys to Men, they said?
Boys to Men does. They got a
He's
little bit of
definitely
song called
in there.
"I'll Make Love to You," which is great.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
Fantastic.
'Cause
Down on bended knee.
4 guys singing it to the same girl, which is a little weird, but
Hey, if you're into that kind of thing, nothing wrong with that, by the
Yeah.
way. All right, let's get to some Super Bowl review here. And Patrick, could you please have the sound of Andy Reid talking to Peter King ready, please? Because it is fantastic. It is really good. It's part of our kind of Super Bowl review of the review. But I want to have a conversation about Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes together. Because I was thinking to myself, can we identify as sports fans here? And let's go just past football. Let's go past football. Let's go to any other major sports you can identify. Have we found a better marriage? Huh? Valentine's Day. Shout out. Better marriage of scheme and talent than Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. And I think, obviously, Michael Jordan and, Phil Jackson with his triangle offense, it was beautiful. It was perfect. It made, obviously that worked. I'm talking about, so you can identify a scheme that was either created or popularized by that coach, and then a player that became all-time great within his system and his scheme. Joe Montana, of course, in the conversation.
Yeah.
Kurt
With Bill
Warner,
Walsh.
Mike Martz.
Kurt Warner, I love that. Yes,
That's a
no
great
doubt.
one.
That's a great
That's a
one
great
right
one.
there. Right? Totally agree. That's
Yeah.
that's money. It's not many that I would say I would put over Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid
Yeah.
though. Other than Bill Walsh's West Coast offense. Hell, Joe Montana and Steve Young, and then aside from that,
Right,
quarterbacks
right.
after that. So. Yeah, he, in terms of the macro, Bill Walsh in the West Coast offense, of course, trumps all. But I'm talking about just one specific player, athlete, with one specific system and what they accomplished together. Is this just Michael Jordan and Phil Jackson? I'm serious. I'm not joking about this crazy.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know
I
hockey
do
very well.
like-
Find
I
me
do.
hockey. If you know what I mean? I'm not trying to diss Wayne
the
Gretzky.
reason I put-
Find me the hockey comparison now, and I will,
I'll put the Kurt Warner, Mike Martz up there
I like-
because
I
they were
like
both
that one.
not good without each other. Like they both struggled afterward. Like Mike Martz
when they
definitely
went
never did
elsewhere.
anything
Oh,
else.
you're just saying that.
So in that
yeah.
in that aspect of they worked so well together that offense was so dynamic.
The greatest show
and then
on
they
dirt.
both went off and
Turf.
struggled. But Kurt Warner did do it
he
again
did
in
go to
Arizona.
the Super Bowl.
He did
So
go
Kurt
under the
Warner's-
Super Bowl with Arizona.
But that's a good point though about Mike
But I will
Martz.
put them up there as a really good because of how good that team was.
That's a great point.
You know, baseball's got these. I'm sure, Harge. Like, I mean,
Not really.
really.
Not really. The only way you can look at it is probably Bobby Cox and his group with the Atlanta Braves because he had those great pitching staffs.
Mm.
And you bring in different players and you can they were homegrown too.
Yeah.
So yeah, in baseball I would look at it and say the Atlanta Braves because of what they did as a group. You had Greg Maddux, you had
Yeah.
Tom Glavine, Steve Avery. You brought in Chipper Jones, obviously, and then you had everybody that was playing in the outfield, Ryan Klesko, Dave Justice, Ron Gant, guys that you brought up within your system. I could say, yeah, you might be right with that, and you could say it would be Bobby Cox. That would be the only way that I would look at it would be Bobby Cox.
And then
his
you had
group.
then you had multiple guys like
Then you had
rotating in.
yeah.
Like I said, I apologize for ignorance if another sport.
No,
soccer,
you're not.
Hockey. You guys hit us up on the Specs text line 512-337-3776. I'm
They said
legitimately
Jeter and
opening
Joe
up.
Torre with the Yankees. Yeah,
you let me know. Is that system that
because a
highlights?
lot of people think that Jeter, because he was on the Yankees, that's how he became a great dominant player. If he would have been on a different team, they don't think he would have been as great.
Okay.
I mean, that's
Okay.
kind of how it looks out.
All right.
But I thought he was a great player. I thought I played against him. I knew exactly what he was about. So the work he was putting in was something different. But I do like that thought process of Joe Torre and Derek Jeter. But I'm going more of the style with what the Atlanta Braves did because that was every year.
Yeah.
They were winning divisions. They weren't winning the World Series, but they had enough. And that's where I think the difference would be. They were winning the World Series, and the Braves were not.
Yeah. I mean, I would even, like I said,
Somebody said Tim Duncan and Pop.
that's good too.
That one's good too.
That's good. Exactly. Like that's why I really want to open it up because that's great, actually. The
Yeah,
Tim Duncan, great. Pop
I
was
think
great.
the Michael Jordan one's interesting because that was one where Jordan basically he was like, I'll retire. If you get rid of Phil Jackson, I'll retire.
Yeah.
Like I'm not playing for another coach.
Mhm.
And so that one's interesting just in the fact of that he literally basically walked away from the game because they were going to fire because Krause didn't get along with Phil Jackson. And so they were like, well, we're getting rid of him anyway. And Michael's like, cool, I'm out. Like, I'm not playing for another coach.
Yeah. No,
And-
and that's the point. And people are bringing up Belichick Brady. I agree with the Belichick Brady thing. I can't identify the system that Brady played in, though.
Yeah,
I can't identify because they changed systems so much. That's the beauty of Belichick's formula or his blueprint. Hell, Belichick played in a different I can identify like 4 different ones right now. Hell, he played when they played heavy 12 personnel when they had Gronk and Aaron Hernandez in there.
Yep.
Remember? And then at one point they went spread and hurry up offense because they were copying the Chip Kelly model for a little while. Hell, when they went up against the Rams, they were playing the second amount of 21 personnel with an old school fullback, like the San Francisco 49ers were doing. When early on he was a game man, I can't identify the system to go, he's playing in that system, and now he's flourishing in that system of that coach. And Belichick is Belichickian and having experience in more than one phase of the game, but he's playing, he's a defensive coach for the most part. And I know he had Josh McDaniels there, and he had Bill O'Brien there as offensive coordinators. And it'd be different if he played in a very similar style system the entire time. They changed everything.
Yeah.
So if you want to say culture, that's a culture. That's different. I'm looking for a system. So maybe we can add another component to this thing about the culture. But to me, that's a little different than the system. The system changed all the time. That's the beauty of it. You can never keep up with the Belichick system and the Brady system because it changed every other year. They kept it fresh. That's why they were able to make the championship window so long. They extended so long.
Yeah.
If they were the same offense the entire time, they wouldn't have made it that long. So with Brady, and then he goes to the Bucks and wins a freaking Super Bowl in his first year.
Yeah,
Right?
that's where everybody throws that out the window.
So
it's like
I
it's
don't
more
know.
about the quarterback.
We going with system there?
Yeah.
Or we going with Brady's just a freaking GOAT?
I like
Just a
it. Yeah.
badass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't. It's hard for me to link the two. I'm trying to directly link the system and the player. And Andy Reid runs a certain type of system with Patrick Mahomes, and it's his offense. And
Right.
him and Eric Bieniemy. But
For now.
we
now.
and it's Andy Reid's system.
And
Though,
it's, no matter what. But I sit and I'll go back to that Pop situation, they ran pretty much the exact same, and they were a dynasty for a
They
long
were.
time. And,
Yep.
But they also had ancillary pieces that are now Hall of Famers.
Yeah,
right?
I think Tony and Manu are even better examples of that, just because both those, like Tim Duncan was going to be Tim Duncan.
Yeah.
But he became better because of it. But Tony and Manu are both Hall of Famers because of that system and being put in a place to win as much as they did. I like someone brought up D'Antoni and Steve Nash.
That's a
Nash
good
won
one.
2 MVPs.
Yeah.
Yep.
Didn't win a title, but it's
they
good
didn't
one.
win a title, but he won 2 MVPs
Yeah.
there, and that was, they just couldn't play defense, but offensively, Steve Nash was a monster.
Someone who says, is that Scotty Bowman and the Detroit Red Wings I see on the Specs text line? Is that what this says there?
Yeah.
All right. Urban Meyer and Tim Tebow is a good example, actually, too.
Yeah.
College football has a lot of them. Vincent, Greg Davis. I mean, it really was. I mean, I think college football actually may have more to identify than
That would be
we give him credit
fair.
for.
Yeah, that would be
Just-
fair too, because
right?
if you got a transcendent quarterback coming in with
Baker
a great
Mayfield,
coaching,
Lincoln Riley. I'm sorry, I
Exactly.
know Longhorn fans don't want to hear that, but that's actually true.
But then you look at Lincoln kept doing
Exactly,
it.
that's true. So is that yes?
yeah, Lincoln kept doing it.
That's a great point.
So it's more
Yeah.
Lincoln than anybody else.
Amen, brother. You're right. That's the point. That's why I think it's an interesting conversation. It's
Yeah.
like, I
Because
cannot.
Andy did go to the Super Bowl with
He
Donovan
did.
McNabb.
He did, but he couldn't get over the hump with those
Until
guys.
he got-
and he was basically an average playoff coach before he got with Mahomes.
Yep.
And now he's extraordinary.
That's fair. That's fair.
It's it is. Like I said, there's
I'll
little
throw
right-
you one more out that's current right now. McVay and Cooper Kupp is a weird
I
one.
like that.
But
That's something that you're taking away
that's
the quarterback.
non-traditional,
That's good.
but I
Yeah.
like that. I like that.
yeah, but I mean, like,
I like
he does
that.
not seem like a guy who would be the best receiver in football.
Yeah.
And he was, for a season at least,
It's funny that
the
you
best
say
receiver
that.
in
I
football.
like that, man. That's a good one. That's interesting. Yeah, you said going away from just the quarterback
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
But going kind of outside. Yeah, I'm with you. I just think it's an interesting conversation. I was talking to a friend of mine about it last night. And the comparison I made, strangely enough, was I said basically Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes reminds me of when Dr. Dre found Eminem. Like, Dr. Dre was always talented. I mean, look what he did with NWA. Look what he did when he found Snoop. Nothing but a G thing. I mean, it was great. But when he found an elite, like, talent,
Yeah.
like a lyrical just phenomenon.
Took him to the next level.
I mean, hell, Marshall Mathers LP sold 25 million copies. Basically Eminem became the highest selling rapper of all time. Sold more rap albums than any other rapper ever when he and Dr. Dre got together with the Marshall
Internationally, too.
with the Marshall
Yeah.
Mathers LP and with the Eminem show.
Yep.
I mean, it took hip hop by storm. But it was because Dr. Dre, ultimate talent scheme wise, behind the scenes, found the ultimate on field talent, on mic talent in a guy like Eminem. Same thing happened, honestly, when Quincy Jones found Michael Jackson. When Quincy Jones and Michael Jackson got together,
That's when Motown took off.
it took the music world
Yeah.
by storm.
Gary, Indiana.
I mean, basically, those albums. Thriller is, basically go off the wall, sold over 20 million copies worldwide, made it one of the best selling albums of all time. Thriller became one of the best selling albums of all time, 32 million copies worldwide. Hell, I mean, it just got to that point where when every time they did something, it was great.
Yeah.
Like, it was not only great, it was iconic. I think Bad was the other album they did that sold like 35 million copies worldwide. That's what Andy Reid marrying his scheme with Patrick Mahomes' talent reminds me of.
Yeah.
And there was no stopping it. There was no ceiling. The potential was unlimited when you got those types of talents together. And yes, like I said, we've seen it before in sports at other levels, but it always ends up becoming legendary. And I just think we're watching it right now.
Somebody just, they said that Jim Kelly and Marv Levy. Would that be considered that? They didn't win the championships.
They did not,
But
but
they kept getting to the Super Bowl.
They did actually. Yeah, that's an interesting story because they took the sugar huddle from the Cincinnati Bengals at the time. They made a big stink out of the hurry up offense, the no huddle offense, which the Cincinnati Bengals were the ones that popularized at the time. And matter of fact, Marv Levy and the Buffalo Bills, they made something. They actually not joking about this. They actually threatened to protest a playoff game.
Yeah.
Because they thought the Bengals were basically violating the rules of the NFL with their hurry up, no huddle offense. Didn't matter. I think the Cincinnati Bengals actually didn't huddle up in that game, and they still end up beating Buffalo.
Right.
But if you can't beat them, join them. The irony of that is Buffalo took the sugar huddle, the no huddle offense from Cincinnati, and turned it into the K gun and went to 4 straight Super Bowls with it. So they were like, damn it, we cannot beat this damn system, this concept. So you know what? Let's take it and run with it, and it'll become ours. And they did. And they did it with Jim Kelly. And you're right. That's another great example of marrying the perfect talent or the ideal talent with the ideal skill.
Yeah, you got to make it happen. And they went out there and did that. So that's great. That's a great thinking process that you're going through to try to find out how it's going to work and what's going to be the best grouping together, the best pairing. And I love the fact of Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, because what he's doing in such a short period of time, if they can have that longevity, that's the other part of it. There's going to be some changes around them, and we saw one this year, but what do we see in the next year? That's what I'm thinking about.
I agree with you on that. Yeah. All right, what you got for the people coming up on Hard Knock Life?
We're going to talk a little bit of baseball. It's right around the corner, and there's a bunch of rule changes that are now going to be put in place, and it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out.
I like that. Ooh, Belton Gringo says John Wooden, Kareem, Bill Walton.
And Bill Walton, and all of UCLA.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's not bad. Not bad. All right, keep them coming on the Spec Sex line. We'll come right back with Hard Knock Life right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Let me tell you about my friends over at Apple Leasing, because they understand that time is money. As a matter of fact, your time is a whole lot of money for them, and they want to make sure they save you both. They're going to save you time, save you money, but also find you great value in this car, industry that we're looking at right now. Right now, it is a crazy time to be buying a car. Inflation is through the roof. It's never been more expensive to buy a new car, buy a used car, buy anything. So you might need a friend to walk you through this labyrinth right now. That is the car industry, and my friends at Apple Leasing can help you with that. They have the ability to put you in any make or model vehicle that you want. The professionals over at Apple Leasing can help you get the price you want, the payment you want on the car that you want. And all it takes is one phone call or click on Apple Leasing's website, and you'll get a quote on any make or model vehicle that you want. They can even give you an estimate on the value of your trade-in right over the phone. See, Apple Leasing's simple interest, easy lease allows you flexibility, which is going to give you more possibilities and options to help you find the vehicle that fits you best, but more importantly, the vehicle that fits your budget best. Inflation, like I said, is out of control. So actually leasing a car makes more sense than ever. You're only paying for the part of the car you're actually using. So give Apple Leasing a call at 512-346-9977. That's 512-346-9977. And let them say how much money they can save you. They get all the same discounts, all the same incentives that the dealers do, except my friends at Apple Leasing, they pass those savings on to you, the customer. So give them a call, 512-346-9977, or visit appleleasing.com. That's appleleasing.com.
Welcome back to a Top of the Charts Tuesday edition of Ball Don't Lie, a Valentine's edition. No, my man Patrick is not playing Valentine's song. He's playing number one songs that were hitting the top of the chart on this day throughout our history.
That's right.
It's my boy. You can follow me on Twitter at HardballHarge. You can follow my boy Rob Babers at Rob Babers. And, of course, the man behind the glass that's in charge of all of our themes around here at It's Patrick Davis. We love when you're a part of the show. Hit us up on the Specs text line 512-337-3776. And we love some of the responses that we have been getting. One of my favorite is the Astros and the trash cans.
Go Astros!
Milli Vanilli was a dynamic, historic duo. And, of course, our favorite. Come on, guys. Bucky and Aaron. That's
true.
a duo
That's
that
a
has
great one.
stood the test of time. And
damn
they've
good.
won awards as well.
It's damn good.
I love it. I love it.
I like that.
Baseball season is right around the corner as we start to wrap up football, the offseason. Football never stops, by the way. Just want to make sure we understand that. We've got basketball that is hitting its stride right now. We got the All-Star game this weekend, and I believe there's only like 20-something games that are left until the end of the regular season when they start making their move in the playoffs. But as usual, baseball is right here for us. And one of the biggest things is obviously pitchers and catchers reported. But this weekend, a lot of things have happened because baseball season starts this Friday. This Friday, I'll be at Globe Life Field up
Nice.
in Arlington working for Flow Baseball. But the Texas Longhorns, Arkansas Razorbacks, who kick off the season to start it off Friday night, Vanderbilt will be there. TCU will be there, Oklahoma State will be there, and Missouri will be there. And there is going to be a lot of quality in Arkansas. Arkansas is a team that you're going to have to pay attention to because they are young, but they are loaded, and they're going to continue to grow. But there are so many changes that are starting to happen in the game. And I want to start on the major league level because we've had this conversation before, but now it's being implemented as the rules have changed as we go. The new rule regarding the shift. You know, we've talked about this before, and I kept saying, why aren't guys bunting? Why wouldn't you just bunt to get a hit because you want to get on base? And it kind of goes back to our conversation we had earlier when we talked to Gene Watson. We were talking about the lost art of the stolen base, where the beautiful running of the triple. None of that is happening because now guys want to hit for want to hit for power. They're trying to lift the ball out of the yard. Home runs bring money, and so they're trying to figure out how they can get involved with that. But they also have created more strikeouts, times of the game, so things have changed. So when you shift, that means that guys can play like a rover position in the outfield. A second baseman can get out there deep. Shortstop normally pulls all the way over to the second base side. You move your third baseman to the shortstop position. There's so many different ways that this can happen, and then you reverse it on the other side when you want to play a pull hitter to the left-handed side of the field, right-handed batter. So now they have decided that you cannot shift anymore.
No.
You can't play with a shift, so you have to have two position players on each side of the diamond, and you have to have both feet on the dirt. You can't play a deep second base or a deep shortstop or a deep third base. You have to play with your feet on the dirt, which to me, I'm like, come on, man. I'm playing on the right side of the field. Let me go ahead and play deep when I want to, and that way I can figure that out. But no, you have to have both feet on the dirt, which is new to the game. And how it's going to be enforced, if the hitting team reaches base and the runners advance on a hit ball under the violation, the game proceeds without penalty. If the play of any other consequences, an out, a sacrifice, the hitting team can either decide to accept the penalty, which is, like, what are we doing? Football? You going to throw a challenge flag at this? Or they can decline it and let the play stand, which is crazy to me. They've also decided that they want bigger bases out there.
Yeah.
3 more inches or bigger.
Hey, every inch counts.
Come on now.
Every man knows that.
We already know what that's
why
about.
I manscape.
Yeah. Got to get it all
Gotta
out
get it
there.
all out there, man.
So then they've decided that they're going to do that. So you start looking around, and we've seen this in softball before, and if you coached at a different level where you were coaching youth baseball or softball, you know that they've had this extra base on the backside. So when you're running to first base, you're not running into the first baseman.
Okay.
You're giving a base on the backside so you can be clear, there's no accidents. Well, now stealing bases is going to be different because you're going to be there a lot closer. There's going to be a lot of changes that are going with that. So it's going to be an adjustment period for all of the coaches and everyone else that are involved with it. But going back to the shift, what the league have seen over the years, league-wide, the batting average was down to 243. And that is the lowest since 1968.
Wow.
And I told you this before, Rod, but a lot of that goes back to what these coaches have, not these coaches, but a lot of these hitting instructors is teaching these guys to hit the ball out of the park, lift and separate, make sure. And nobody really cares about putting the ball in play near as much as we once did. I mean, I told you before, like the owners would come over and the GMs would be like, hey, Hard, you learn how to hit that ball to right field yet? You stand behind that thing? We'd like to see you hit it the opposite way. That means you're going to cut down on those strikeouts. If I was playing in today's game, your boy would be something. I'm telling you, your boy would be something. That 243,
For real.
Give
paid.
me more money, more
Getting
money. But, yeah, you start to look at that. And it also shows a lack of plate discipline as well because the game has changed so much. And now you want to try to figure out what is this going to do to the game. Me personally, I believe now that you don't have a shift and you got bigger bases, I think the runs are going to be more. I think the game is going to be more exciting for some of these people. I think guys are now going to see their averages start to go up. As I said, 243 across the league is a terrible batting average. And if you were batting that back in the day, you wouldn't be even playing the game that much.
Gone.
You would be out of the game. So now you're going to make it all happen to where the game is going to be, number one, there's going to be more runs that are involved. You're going to see batting averages go up, and you're going to see more runners being driven in. This might be something that's beautiful for a guy like Yordan Alvarez if you're an Astros fan. You start looking at Joey Gallo, a guy that, I get paid to hit the ball out of the park. Now Joey Gallo might go up there and actually have some watchable at-bats. He did change it a little bit when he went to the Dodgers, but now he has that opportunity. And the other thing that is being implemented is a pitch clock.
Yeah,
a
I like
pitch
that.
clock. Man, look,
Come on, man.
for a guy that has called some baseball games that have been 4.5 hours,
It's crazy.
this is something that I'm excited about. This is something that I'm looking at and saying, okay, how does this going to work as you start to work on holding runners on first base, doing different things to try to change the pace in which you are pitching? Because a lot of times that's the cat and mouse of the game, right?
Agreed.
That's how the strategy is involved. So all of that is about to change. In the minor leagues, it has been more effective because it has sped the games up and actually done good in the minor leagues. We remember when we talked to Mike Capps, the voice of the Round Rock Express, he was talking about that. Games are being done in like 2.5 hours when before you were out there for 3.5, maybe 4 hours. They were cutting the games almost in half. And that's what they're hoping for.
Yeah.
Because you know
That'd be
as well
great,
as
man.
I do, especially for the casual baseball fan, it's something that you're like, oh, yeah, I'll be able to watch this. I'll be able to do this because it's not taking up my entire time.
Yeah.
But the purist of the game are like, baseball is the one sport that has never had a time clock on it.
I know, but you got to be able to. The problem with baseball is your fans are getting older, and therefore that's a bad thing. 50% of baseball fans are
Correct.
55 and older.
Correct.
That's a bad thing. You got to start getting your demo of just a basic demo of your fans younger. And younger people only have the attention span of a goldfish. I'm not making that up. That is true. That's research. That's 9 seconds. You ain't got a
That's
lot of
why
time.
all the TikToks and all the videos,
Yeah, it's
they
quick.
try to make them quick.
It's quick, fast, man.
Yeah.
So I agree. And by the way, football games are just as long as baseball games. They are, but it's about the action in the game. So pace.
Right.
Pace is different than the length.
Pace
right?
is definitely
So the
is
motion, it ain't about the size of the boat, but the motion in the ocean.
Yeah.
Baseball, the motion in the ocean also sucks.
Sometimes.
Football's got better motion. Listen,
I
baseball.
did a 4.5 hour game. Remember I told you, I'm like, man,
Yeah.
what am I going to talk about for that long?
Baseball actually has more action probably than football does.
Correct,
But
because everything
football-
is personal. Yeah,
Exactly.
it's
But
happening
football's
every
able
time.
to present it a little bit better with the
Yeah.
pace of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when you talk about taking someone to a game and repeat business of people coming back to more games,
Great point.
if you're like, man, I went with my kids, and by the third inning, they already want to go home. But if like, oh, now they want to go home in the seventh, and I'm like, well, no, this is the fun part. Watching, we're gonna finish the game, and you get through 9 innings, you're like, oh man, we had a fun time.
Yep.
Because we watched the whole game. I want to go back now. Versus, man, that was a nightmare for 4 innings.
Yeah.
Because my kids melted
They were
down.
bored as
and
hell, yeah.
I'm bored now too.
Ding,
'cause-
ding, ding, ding.
Totally agree.
And
the
like,
kids
I get
are
it.
the most important part.
kids are
Going
the
back
key.
to your part.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I went to a Express game last year, and I was like, hey, guys, we're going to leave probably in the 7th inning. Right after the 7th inning stretch, we're going to start leaving.
Negotiating
yeah,
with
yeah,
terrorists.
I'm telling everybody.
I already
And the
told. I
next
already
day-
told the valet to pull the car around.
Yeah. I ain't have no valet. I got good parking there. But as I was getting ready to do that, next thing I'd look up, and I'm like, we're already in the 7th inning. Like, it was happening so
Yeah,
fast.
that's good.
And I was like, well, we're going to stay for the whole thing now because I don't have to worry about getting the kids home for sleeping to get ready for school the next day. It's a lot that has gone into it. And it's the constant movement of the game made
Great
it
point.
easy.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
action, man. They
it's
need to be-
action.
yeah.
Yeah,
The
and
action of
that's what some of this is going to happen. And they can only throw the ball over to first base a certain amount of times. There's times with that, and there's only a couple times that you can disengage with the rubber, whether you're stepping off or coming back in or you're missing up sign. There's a lot of things you won't be able to shake off as many pitches during that time. You're going to have to go with what you feel, and it's going to speed up the game that way.
Interesting.
And that is the biggest thing for me. The time of the game and how long the games are lasting.
Agreed.
For the attention span of not just the purists, but the novice too, right? Some of the guys, the casual people that want to, I'm going to go hang out with my friends. Or I'm going to go up into the suite and watch the game. And next thing you know, the game is almost over. And then people are more, they're more in tune to sticking around instead of being drawn out. Beer sales are going to change too because that's going to be one of the things too because the game is going to be over a lot quicker. So beer salesmen are like, nah, man, keep the games long. People going to be here. You know, you're going to have to try to figure
I
it
didn't think
out.
about that, but you're right.
So there's a lot that goes into it. So those are some of the changes that are going to happen. There's more. The SEC came out with the new rule too. The same thing with the pitch count. But guys, you're going to have 20 seconds to pitch. Coaches are going to have 2 minutes and 30 seconds to make a pitching change. You are not going to be able to stall in the game. You're going to have to make sure that your guys are prepared and ready to go before anything else.
You know, I like the moves, man. I think they, even if you're not going to stick with them permanently, why not just experiment with them? I love the NFL because I always say the NFL is one of the most experimental leagues on the planet. They'll change a rule and then they'll gauge the public sentiment or the public response to it. They'll change the damn rule back.
Right.
They changed the damn catch rule 4 times.
Yeah,
The
and they
NFL
didn't even get it right in the Super
and they
Bowl.
still ain't get it right.
Right,
Exactly.
right.
The NFL will change a rule. They will change rules year after year. They usually do it, and we talk about it all the time. I think more leagues should go, you know what, let's tweak it. If it's bad, we'll go back the next year. Who cares?
Yeah, you got to
Let's
make
just
some
see.
changes.
Yeah, the NFL believes if it ain't broke, fix it anyway.
Yep.
That's what they believe. And honestly, it works for them.
Yeah, I always feel MLB. There's a lot of people like I'll watch a game start in the 7th inning,
Yep.
just because you're like I know how long the game is, and I can tell. I can go look at the score and go, oh, that one's 5-7. Let me flip over there because maybe they'll come back. Or if it's a blowout, I don't watch it at all. But you can go in those last innings. So there's part of it where it's like it may suck if you're only watching 7. If you're only watching 7 through 9, and it goes fast, and you're like, oh man, that was quick. But that just means I have to start watching earlier in the game. It doesn't necessarily take away the game. Like, it doesn't take away the thing as bad as people are
Agreed.
making it seem as does.
Yeah, because the NFL's dealing with the lack of attention span of Americans too. That's why they have the Red Zone channel. They decided to just cave in. They were like, you know what? We can't get people to watch the whole damn game. They want to tune in for when the team's getting ready to score or when it matters. They don't want to watch the whole damn drive. All right, screw it. Give them the Red Zone channel. And people love it. People love it. It's just about them. Oh, they been ready to score? All right, give me that. I know people, they don't even watch games anymore. They just watch the Red Zone all day. And I'm like, that's what you do? Like, yeah, I watch 8 hours of Red Zone. It's awesome. I'm like,
You know why? Because most of the people have fantasy
That's true.
implications. That's why they're watching the red zone.
I
a lot.
agree. Baseball's got fantasy.
Yeah,
Nobody-
they do. But we ain't got,
It
and
ain't
we
helping
do, and we
nobody.
do, and we do have a red zone, the MLB box.
Do
You
they?
do have a
When
lot
the
of
team's
those.
getting ready to
Yeah.
like get a run in or
Yeah.
something like that.
Certain situation.
Yeah, all
Yeah.
right. I like the changes. I think they're necessary, but we'll see if they end up being successful. All right, we come back. Rihanna's halftime show ratings and the Super Bowl ratings are in. Yeah, there's a reason I mentioned Rihanna first. We'll come back
There
and
it
talk
is.
about that right here on Baldo Loud, Water 49 the Horn. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. We got the Super Bowl ratings in, gentlemen. Also, we have the ratings for the halftime show in. And I'm not going to lie, I was a little surprised. Turns out, Super Bowl ratings, by the way, 113 million people watched the Super Bowl.
Yep.
So the final number landed at 113 makes it the third most watched Super Bowl ever and the most watched Super Bowl since 2017. The 2017 Super Bowl. The all-time record continues to be held by, I believe, the 2015 Super Bowl. 114.5 million viewers for that one. But they came close. Honestly, you could argue if they don't get that dumb holding call.
Right.
And it ends up just being a regular drive, and then Philadelphia gets a chance to have a game-winning drive or a chance to tie the game, they probably would have beat the record, guys.
Yep.
Because I think that's where the rating kind of trailed off. Because I was disinterested after that too. I was like, oh, guess game over.
Yeah.
And that was like the last 2 minutes of the game or something like that.
I had the squares. They hit the field goal,
Oh, so you were-
I was very interested. But
Yeah, you want some straight cash on me? Good for you.
You know.
But yeah, I mean, I was so I'm not surprised by the rating at all. It was a really good game. It was competitive the whole damn time.
Right.
Hard to find a game that's competitive all the way down to the wire like that, and it was. But one of the most surprising things about the Super Bowl halftime show is that the ratings for the Super Bowl halftime show actually were higher than the ratings for the Super Bowl.
This is why I don't think this is
Or
surprising.
at least more viewers, I should
This
say.
is why I
More
don't think
viewers.
this is why I don't think it's surprising. Because all right, so there are people who will tune in just for the halftime show because they're not football fans.
Plenty.
Who's turning off the game? Who's watching the game and goes, "I am so opposed to Rihanna. I will turn it off. Tell me when it's over."
That's a good
every
point. I don't
single
know.
person who was watching the game saw the halftime show, and then they added in people that don't care about football. But it was like there was probably half of those people did not care about that. Like I didn't care. It was fine, but I wasn't like I was like, oh man, I gotta sit down and watch this. I sat down and watched the whole game. So I think the ratings wise,
That's a great point, though.
you got my rating for the halftime show. I did not come for the halftime show.
Yeah.
Right.
Nah, that's a really good point. I never thought about that, too. Yeah, not a lot of people are.
No one's tuning
turning
out.
it yeah.
Like,
Turning
remember when
it
there
out.
used to be all the other channels would try and put on like counter program the halftime?
Oh, yeah, like the Puppy Bowl and stuff like
well,
that.
no, but there was like, but they would have like MTV would have something.
Oh, yes.
and
yes,
then
yes,
like
yes.
everyone
like
would
a
have
performance. of
yeah,
some
they would
kind.
have
Yeah.
counter programming to go. Oh,
You know-
people don't like this. That doesn't really exist as much anymore. So there is no real tune out value.
Yeah.
And you know what? I just thought about there was no Nickelodeon this time.
Oh, they not do it this time?
They didn't do the
Nobody.
simulcast.
I didn't hear any promotions.
Yeah, I
for
didn't
it.
hear either.
I mean,
Oh, it might be because they're not Fox in them, or may not be
Oh,
owned
okay.
by the same people. So there's probably a rights issue with it.
That's a good point. That's a very valid point.
Yeah.
118.7 million viewers across TV and digital platforms tuned in for Rihanna's halftime show. So, yeah. Second most watched Super Bowl halftime performance on record and the most watched since Katy Perry, 2015.
okay,
There you go.
nice.
Some people didn't like the halftime
No,
show.
no,
but they
I'll
tuned in
I'll
for
give
it.
her credit that there's a ton of people who tuned in just to watch her.
Oh, my wife was really excited about
Yeah,
Rihanna.
so I know that
She
people
was
were very
crunk about it.
excited. I don't want to take away. I am just saying those numbers they're like, I can't believe it did better. Like, who turns it off?
Or yeah, some people literally admit just says some people turned it on for the halftime show, and like you
Yeah.
said, turned it off.
Nobody,
I don't know.
but nobody else turned off the game for the halftime.
Did you see that was actually
great point.
a Barstool story, and it was from social media. There was a flight. And, you know, you can get television on flights now.
Yeah.
And basically took a picture. And
I saw
everybody,
that.
oh, you saw
I
this?
saw that, yeah.
Everybody on the flight's watching the Super Bowl. He took a picture like
Yeah.
overseas. Everybody's watching the Super Bowl except for one guy. And you know the movie that one guy was watching? Hitch.
Oh,
With the rom-com with Will Smith.
it's nice to know that Kevin James has to take a flight during the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It's like, man, that dude, either he's sitting next to a woman he's trying to hit on. Like, what is your
Yeah,
deal?
is there a single woman out there that if you were like, no, let me watch Hitch instead of that woman would not think less of you?
I'm with you, like, dude, come on, why Hitch of all movies? That'd be a better. If you're going to skip the Super Bowl when everybody around you's watching the Super Bowl on the flight, why not choose a better programming
Yeah.
than Hitch? Or you know what? Take a nap.
Yeah,
Just put it
do
on the
that.
and
Get a
take
quick nap real quick.
Nap it.
I'm not much of a reader, but I might pick up a book on that point.
There you go.
Yeah,
That's
let me go
another-
ahead and take a nap real quick.
all better options than watching Hitch during Super Bowl
You
Sunday.
know what? You know what? Super Bowl
Yeah.
Sunday. Time to catch up on my Will Smith movies that weren't popular.
The Will Smith rom-com.
Where's Kevin James
Kevin
at? I need to go
James.
see Kevin James real quick.
Yeah, and guys,
Because I thought it was Sean Payton.
no BS though. That is one of my wife's like top rom-coms. Randomly.
She was not going to watch it on a flight during Rihanna's performance.
Oh hell no! My wife was watching the Super Bowl. That's why I married her. But it is one of her favorite rom-coms. So she loves freaking Hitch. Anytime it's on, she's gonna watch it.
I'll be honest. I've never watched it. I probably never will.
You know what? It's not terrible, but yeah, I'm not gonna watch it during the Super Bowl.
I bet I could tell you every joke that's about to be said about 4 minutes before it happens.
Yeah, pretty much. But it does have a couple of really good funny parts, like
Okay.
2 or 3. Yeah, the one with Kevin James dancing actually is pretty damn good.
Yeah.
All right, we'll come back. We got Texas. We're just trying to stall. We don't want to talk Texas basketball, but we have to, and we will. Coming up next segment, they lost to Texas Tech. We'll break it down from every different angle. Right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Happy Valentine's Day to each and every one of you out there. Hope you're enjoying this Valentine's Day. Also, Top of the Charts Tuesday, we play jams that reach the top of the Billboard charts on this day in history. All right, Raj Round the Day coming up next segment. We'll get into Patrick Mahomes and his special X-Men ability. We'll dive into that a little bit and talk about his elite, iconic skill set a little bit. We'll talk about that coming up next segment. We'll talk Texas basketball here. They have a disappointing loss on the road versus the Red Raiders last night, 74-67. As a matter of fact, Harge, my man Chan on the Specs text line said, "You're wearing a lot of red and black today. You look like you're wearing some Red Raider red and black."
Nah, never. Never will I wear the Red Raider colors.
Okay.
It was more for Valentine's Day. I just wanted to be red for Valentine's.
I got you.
Yeah.
All right, there you go.
Billy
Valentine's
Ray
Day.
Valentine.
That makes more sense. So, yes, he's
Yeah.
not representing Tech.
No.
But Tech did represent on their home floor, beating the Longhorns 74-67. Specs text line wide open, 512-337-3776. You can hit up Harge on the in the Twitterverse at Hardball Harge. Patrick Davis at It's Patrick Davis. I'm at Rod Babers in the Twitterverse. All right, gentlemen, disappointing loss for Texas. Probably the most disappointing part of this road loss for Texas on the road to the Red Raiders, 74-67. Once again, the start. We're past the point now of this potentially just kind of being an outlier or a coincidence. We have definitely recognized a pattern. And I think a trend with Texas basketball, there are slow starts. Way too often with this Texas basketball team. Patrick mentioned it last hour as well on the road. Also, it seems to be something that is even more frequent with this Texas basketball team.
Yeah.
Once again, that slow start with the 9-point halftime lead ended up as a 13-point deficit at one point. They ended up losing this game, even though they came back to tie it late in the game. And we've seen that before.
Yep.
The slow start, then them make great adjustments. Shout out to Rodney Terry. Battle back after making great adjustments, but then coming up short in the Big 12, just a little, too late, if you will. So once again, Harge, I think, that to me is the most concerning part of this loss. You're going to lose in the Big 12. It's the Big 12. It's the toughest basketball conference in the country, but the reason in which they lost is one of the most glaring reasons. The slow start again came back to haunt them.
Yeah, and that's something that we've talked about. We've looked at it. They've been masking it because they've been coming back and winning. So it's like, okay, they came out slow, but now look at them. They fight so hard, and they exude so much energy in that part to be able to get there to it, right? Yep. So you're like, man, that's too much work. If you can come out, be efficient, be smart with the way that you're going about it, that changes the way that you can participate in the game. And I know a lot of people keep talking about the fact, should we change the lineup and do different things? No, that's not what you're supposed to be doing. What you should be doing is being smart with the way that you're going about it. Doesn't matter who's starting. It's matter who's on the court at the end of the game. And that's the things that we've had success. That's why they've come back in those games, because those guys know their role late in the games. They know them in the beginning, and they go about their business. The thing that was frustrating to me last night was the fact that they weren't fighting near as hard for those loose balls. They weren't fighting to the fact that the refs were letting them play early. It was a physical game early. But then when things started to get to that point where, all right, they're letting us play, we didn't continue to push that envelope. Yeah. And last but not least, you got to do better at the free throw line. You guys know what it's about. This game is won and lost at the free throw line. And you go 10 of 7 after going 24 of 25 the last game. That's 7 points that were out there that you gave up. Yes, Brock missed the layup. Yes, he's missed some threes, but he's also hit some threes and made some layups for the team to win games. So we have to look at it and try to balance it out. It's not the end of the world. They're still in first place. They're still doing great things, but they can't take any team for granted because, Rod, what did you say just a second ago? It's the Big 12. Everybody's coming. Everybody's coming out. And if you would have went into Lubbock just because they were 2-10 at the time, and you honestly thought that team was going to lay down for you, you got the wrong thing coming. Did you not see that those kids were out there camping out the night before to get into the arena?
What?
You know that it is Texas versus Texas Tech. They could care less what their record is.
You're right about that.
They are going to fight you all the way to the finish. So come out and be prepared and stop. I don't know. I wasn't in the locker room, but moving forward, don't take any team for granted.
Not in the Big 12.
Not in the Big 12, and a team that is your rival that already has it out for you anyway. And let's not forget, Patrick and I were sitting there when they played here, and it was like they was coming out gunslinging then too. So you got to come out there and be prepared, man. That's the simplest way that I can put it.
Yeah, and I mean, you got to figure out ways. This offense has looked really good under Rodney Terry's watch. They did not look good at all last night. You're going to have to go up against teams that are going to play different looks against you. Mark Adams does a good job of changing up defensive looks and going to zone and man and switching up coverage and who's guarding you and how tight they're guarding you and then backing off you and making you question. And then he let guys stand open. He basically said, hey, man, Marcus Carr is going to try and win this game. Don't let him win the game. Make Tyrese Hunter hit shots. Make Brock Cunningham make shots. Because we if they do, we lose. But look, we're 2-10 in the Big 12. Who cares?
Yeah,
we can lose games. They can't.
Right.
They can't afford to be losing these games. So let's go play the best odds because we are a less talented team. They played the odds, and Texas played into their hands. And you didn't find ways to go, hey, man, they're trying to keep Marcus Carr out. They're trying to keep Timmy Allen out of it. Yeah. Okay, well, let's go to Dylan Dessou as much as we can because he seems like he wants it tonight. Yep. And he seemed like he was one of the few guys who really wanted it. So, I mean, I get they're lining you up to get Brock Cunningham and Tyrese Hunter, and as you said earlier, Rod, it's a disappointing state of affairs that that they're leaving Tyrese Hunter open. Like, that should not be they shouldn't be going like, oh, we want him to shoot. Now, hopefully somebody does that again and it gets him going, but that's a lot of hope. We've been hoping for a long time.
Yeah.
I think this is just one of those things where you have to go, hey, man, the biggest lesson you can take out of this, because you got basically outplayed on every facet of energy-wise, and you were out-rebounded. They shot the ball better than you did. They defended you better than you defended them. Basically, they outplayed you in almost everything. You need to come away from this and go, hey, man, we were better than them, and we let them beat us in everything. We need to mentally be in the right space for all of our games, especially on the road, especially when we are not in our home play, in our home away from home in the Moody Center. We can go in there, and even when we get behind, the crowd will get us back into it. We need to get ourselves back in these games. We need to be starting these games with the right intensity. And I think it's something to do, but this is something where Rodney Terry can do part of it, but this is an older team. Like, these players have to do it for themselves because they are the ones who are fighting for each other right now.
Yeah.
Well, another thing, too, if Timmy Allen only has 2 points, don't expect your team to win.
No, I mean, he didn't hit a shot. Those are free throws.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. 0-4 from the field.
Yeah.
And there was a couple times he was by the bucket and he kept double pumping, like trying to get people off the ground. And it's like, bro, they're not going to jump at your shot because they know you can't jump. So just go straight up and hopefully they foul you or something. I mean, again, these are experienced basketball players. I know we can break down every single part of this game, and we will. But there are some things that you were just sitting there going, what are they doing? Like, what is truly happening in this deal, right?
Yeah, because it's and one texter said they didn't really have a slow start early on. It was just tons of missed free throws, and they just looked out of sorts. And that could be true. I think it was a slow start and maybe a sluggish start. Maybe they're different. So I don't know if it was a sluggish start, but at the end of that first half, where basically they had 6 straight buckets. 4 of those were 3-pointers.
Yep.
Down the stretch of the final minutes of the first half. And was that right? Right? I think that's it. And then that's when it really, became glaring. And they just had these lapses. So maybe if it's not just a slow start overall in the first half, they have these lapses within the first half that you don't really see in the second half, mostly because the sense of urgency has kicked in because they're playing from a deficit. They're thinking, all right, you know what? We can't afford mistakes. We can't afford to beat ourselves. So they clean up a lot of these issues that plague them in the first half. You just need a more crisp focused team in the first half.
Yeah.
And if you don't have such a big deficit to battle back from in the second half, then they'd be in a much better situation. Still tied it up at 64 all late in the second half, but I think they spent so much damn energy battling back.
They did.
And that they didn't have anything to close the game out with in clutch time.
Yeah, I think, and that's part of it is too. It's like, look, and again, I'll say, Davian Harmon is not the player we saw last night. There's a reason why he's at Texas Tech right now. He's a decent enough player, but they were listing off all the guys he used to play with, and they're all in the NBA. And you're like, ooh, that's sad that you are not going to be one of them. But he looked like in the first half, and you're like, dude, if you have one guy going off, I know you don't want to sell out on that one, but sell out on him for a little bit. Get him out of his rhythm because they did in the second half.
Yeah,
he had 21 in the first half. I think he had 24 overall.
Yeah,
something like that.
3 or 4 in the second half.
Yeah, so it's like you did it in the second half.
Right.
So if you got him out of his rhythm a little bit before the end, it made some other guys try and contribute.
Started trapping him in the second a little bit too.
And so it's like get him out of his game, and then all of a sudden that Tech team doesn't have enough pieces to fight back, but you just basically thought, oh, he's hot, we'll just let him go. He banked in a 3, so he's not really shooting that well. But you let him, once he got that, he could go down and get within 5 feet of the basket. And for anyone at this level of basketball, 5 feet away should be a pretty high percentage shot.
No, I'm with you. Yeah, they did. I mean, even, Brock Cunningham late misses a layup there at, right at the rim. They just seemed like a lot of the consistent pieces for Texas that usually are something you can count on in this game. Even Serge Rice, not totally his fault, though it is his fault, but he got in foul trouble, so he wasn't able to contribute. He didn't give you as many minutes, only 24 minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, you're right about Davian Harmon. They just couldn't find an answer for him in this first half. He had those 21 points. And, yeah, in the second half, I mean, they really did a great job on him and trapped him and figure out a better way to neutralize that threat. And he still came up with that clutch basket at the end with the clutch layup off the top of the glass. That was a tough shot, though. Honestly, sometimes, as Mac Brown would say, they on scholarship, too.
Exactly.
That's a hell of a shot, man. They defended the hell out of that play, and he just made an unbelievable shot.
Yeah. No, and that's the point, though, is when you let a basketball player get in a zone like that, where he's feeling it and you let him go in, that's when you have to knock him out of his rhythm. So when he does that, he doesn't feel he can even hit that shot.
Yeah.
And everything you make him question it, that's a little bit harder.
Yeah.
And now that shot is, he doesn't necessarily put up it's too high or it's too low and he doesn't get the shot up. But you let him take advantage of everything the entire first half. So why would he not think he could do that? And part of it is just the confidence to go in there and trust your body to do the right thing.
Yeah.
He did that. And he had that confidence.
He did that.
But yeah, I think for Texas, as long as I think the biggest issue, because you're going to lose in the Big 12, it is just such a tough competitive league. I mean, Texas Tech is now starting to play their best basketball. Took them this deep into the Big 12 season. Now they're starting to play their best basketball. Texas got them at a bad time, obviously, but you pointed out, Harsh, they played them tough last time, too.
They did.
So, they just either match up well or they're really motivated, as we know, to play Texas because of a lot of the history there. But I digress. As long as we don't see the same issues plague them in back-to-back games and they result in a loss.
Right.
Coach Terry's been really good about seeing issues or whatever the flaws were that led to them losing a game and then being able to correct those and being able to rectify those things and then moving on to the next game and finding a way to win. Now, they haven't lost back-to-back games. I don't expect that to happen. I expect them to clean everything up and really find a way to start a little more focused with a more crisp style of play, especially with such a veteran team.
Right.
That's why it's a little – because veteran teams don't start like that.
Right. They should know what it takes to get into the flow of the game every single time.
Exactly.
I mean, you can walk into a gymnasium and look around and feel the energy right away and like, okay, boys, we're going to have to go out here and stay locked in as soon as we walk out here.
Yeah.
Not let's go ahead and play through it and see what happens. No. There's different atmospheres every single time. When you're at home, you should feel comfortable. You should feel good. You should be able to walk out there, throw up a shot, and just know it's going in because you spent so much time. When you're on the road like that and it's a hostile environment, you have to make sure that you are mentally engaged in the game because those fans were going to be on you the entire time, regardless.
That's true.
Regardless. They were waiting on this. And again, people normally think of it as like, oh, okay, Chris Beard's coming back.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things kids are going to be like, and then the situation happened, and we're like, it may not be as raucous because now they don't have anything to heckle them about. They were staying overnight. They were camping out because Texas was coming to their arena. They were ready for it, and you should have already known that.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's disappointing because Texas Tech, although, I mean, they obviously are not a team that you can overlook. They've been struggling in Big 12 play. Texas came into the game leading the conference, and they still, I believe, tied for the lead in the conference, so they still got a shot to win this thing. But this is a team that you have played better than all year, proven that you, right now, at this point in the season, are a better team than Texas Tech, even though it is the Big 12. And the biggest reason you lost that game was because of a subpar first half. And honestly, kind of getting back to Patrick's point, too, rebounding edge is also something that has been consistent character flaw of the team all year long. That also comes back to haunt them as well in this matchup. But I think more so, it's the slow start or it's subpar first half.
Yeah, I would agree
lapses.
with you 100% on that. The subpar start, which Texas normally finds a way to correct it a lot sooner than what it was. But the fact is, they hadn't played against a guy that was shooting the lights out like that in the first half either. Because there's some moments where guys think that they're hot and they're not, and the shot's not going in. To your point, he banked one in. That means they were shooting it.
They banked in 2 threes in that first half.
Yeah,
that means on
frustrating
their side.
if you were playing defense and they're banking in threes.
He had a couple of rainmakers. Just like, what the hell was that? Yeah. No, you're right, and that's a little deflating. And I think that's also something disappointing. If it's not offensive, frustrations from Texas in the first half, it's defensive lapses.
Yeah.
That also are a problem. So I think Coach Terry will get it handled. He's done a great job of being able to solve these problems, remedy these issues when they pop up. But at this point, as he's got to solve the first half lapses.
Yeah.
He's got to solve that. And you got to do it ASAP because it's the Big 12, and that could come back to haunt you again in Big 12 play. And if that's the case, because now you have Texas and Baylor are 9-4.
Yep, they're tied.
Yeah. And then Kansas is 8-4.
And Kansas is the one that everybody's looking at as the number 1 seed.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So you got 3 teams with 4 losses. Yeah, I mean, it's getting down to, that time of the year where, man, the margin for error shrinks considerably.
Mm-hmm.
And you just can't afford to have crucial mistakes because they will come back to bite you in Big 12 play. Texas losing to Texas Tech 74-67 on Big Monday. Man, Texas made, one of its final 9 shots in that matchup?
Yeah, it was difficult to watch near the end.
So you fought back and got there, and then
you got back to the tie, like you said.
I think they have enough energy left.
Yeah,
they had no juice left once they got back to tie the game to try to find a way to win it in clutch time. Anyway, Texas where they lost, disappointing, 74-67.
Texas plays Oklahoma this weekend, but tonight Oklahoma plays Kansas State. Kansas State.
The Spec Sex Line is giving you the business.
I know,
Someone
man.
say, Harge, get your guns up. Like the black and red look.
Okay.
Harge wearing those Texas Tech colors. Get your guns up, man.
Hey, man, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
Your wife went to Tech, man. She played ball there.
She is a Longhorn. She went there on scholarship for soccer.
Still.
Yay. It wasn't a soccer game last night. It was a basketball game.
You got multiple textures. Oh, giving you the business.
Hey,
wearing,
this shirt is for Valentine's Day.
He says he's wearing the red for Valentine's Day,
and I have work today.
For Texas.
Oh, man, you got to remember, Harge is a lover, not a Raider.
Exactly.
Oh, man, that's great. All right, keep them coming.
Put my jacket on.
Keep them coming. Text line 512-337-3776. I often talk about the X-Man ability of quarterbacks. I think I might have identified the X-Man ability of Patrick Mahomes, something he does as better, if not better, than something he does as well, I should say, if not better than every other quarterback in the NFL. Maybe in NFL history. We'll discuss it when we come back. Right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. All right, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Davis here. Let me tell you about our good friends over at Iron Workers Local Union 482. They've been helping shape this beautiful city since 1935. That's a long time, folks. And you see the labors of love all over this great city and iconic landmarks like DKR Stadium and the Pennybacker Bridge. And as the city continues to grow and thrive, so does Iron Workers Local Union 482. And that's why they're hiring right now, folks. They're growing just like this city is growing, and they need more good workers. Right now, they're hiring over 3,000 people for a huge project. And you become a member of Iron Workers Local 482 and take pride in the type of teamwork and craftsmanship that helps shape the future of this great city. So maximize your potential and be your best self today by applying at ironworkers482.org. Just go to ironworkers482.org. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. I want to talk about Patrick Mahomes. I've tried my best to try to identify what makes Patrick Mahomes so unique and special, and it's a lot of different things. It's a multifaceted answer and a complicated question, really, as to what makes him so special. When I look at quarterbacks, though, I do think it is important to identify what makes that quarterback special. I call it their X-Man ability, right? What do they do as well, if not better, than every other quarterback that is in their peer group? And for Patrick Mahomes, I mean, you probably can go through either arm strength, you probably can go with accuracy, you probably can go a number of different things. I was listening to B&E this morning, and he made a really good point, man, Aaron Hogan, about this season for Patrick Mahomes, that he may be the first quarterback in the history of the NFL. He is the first quarterback to win Super Bowl MVP, regular season MVP, lead the NFL in passing yards and touchdowns in the same season. Also gets first team All-Pro honors. And so you may have been watching just the greatest season in the history of the NFL for a quarterback this past season. But there's one thing that Patrick Mahomes has proven in a short time span that he does better than any other quarterback, arguably, in the history of the NFL. Even the GOAT, Tom Brady, in my opinion, already surpassed him in this aspect. So Patrick Mahomes is averaging around 31.7 points per game in the playoffs. 9 of the 14 games, I think he scored at least 30 points. So we're dealing with an era where people are scoring more and more points in the playoffs. And, he had to score 38 points to win that Super Bowl. I mean, that's a lot of points in the Super Bowl. And I think more and more you're starting to see those numbers go up. But he was down double digits at halftime. Second time in Super Bowl history. And the GOAT's Tom Brady has the other win, where a team has come back in the Super Bowl after being down double digits at halftime to win. Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady. That's a great place to start. And I told you guys this before the Super Bowl, that if you look at offenses in the NFL and look at their stats when trailing or when playing from behind, Kansas City had the best offense in the league when coming from behind or trailing. I'll give you some stats here about the Kansas City offense when trailing or when playing from behind. I went and tracked the best 8 offenses in the NFL since 2018 when trailing or playing from behind. Number 1, 2018 Kansas City. Number 2, 2019 Kansas City. Number 3, 2022 Kansas City. 2019 San Fran's number 4. 2018 Pittsburgh's number 5. 2020 Kansas City is number 6. 2021 Kansas City is number 7. Green Bay number 8. 2021 Green Bay is number 8. So when I look at the top 8 offenses since 2018 when trailing or playing from behind, Kansas City is 5 of the top 8, 3 of the top 5, and the top 3. Best offense in the NFL when trailing. This, I think, is the key to Patrick Mahomes' superpower, to his X-Man ability. Now, if you follow the X-Men cartoons, X-Men comics, then you know there are levels to these mutants, or different levels. They've labeled them, classified them, categorized them. And the ultimate, highest level of mutant, if you're looking at X-Men abilities, is what they call the Omega level of mutant. Professor X says, basically, the Omega level of mutant, they have unlimited powers. We have no idea how powerful these mutants are. It's unlimited, infinite amount of power. I believe Patrick Mahomes, if we're going to classify X-Man abilities, and I'm going to use the X-Man analogy, then he is the Omega level mutant. And I think his X-Man ability, now, you got more than just one thing you can do really well as an X-Man, is the fact that no lead is safe. No lead is safe. How about this? When I looked at the 8 best offenses when playing from behind or trailing since 2018, like just told you, they got 3 of the top 5, the top 3, and 5 in the top 8. No Kansas City offense is even top 6 when tied or leading since 2018. Not even top 6 when tied or leading. He's at his best. And they're at their best from a deficit
With distress.
when trailing. Yes.
Yes, with distress.
It almost ignites something in him. You know what I mean? It does. It almost, for some reason, it brings out that Omega level mutant ability that he can come back from almost any deficit.
It's called I Want to Win.
It maybe this is a competitive sickness.
Yep.
So because I'm a Texans fan, so I remember this, and so does Patrick. This is probably why Patrick decided to leave the Texans. Everybody remembers when the Texans had a 24-point lead on Kansas City. In Kansas City, I predicted the Texans would win that game, and I was riding high at the time. Trust me, I crashed hard. All right. There are 33 NFL games where an NFL team came back from a deficit of at least 23 points. I repeat, 33 NFL games where a team came back to win a game after being down at least 23 points. One of those was Patrick Mahomes in that game versus the Texans. Out of those 30, by the way, just talking about GOATs, I might as well give you this little GOAT stat about Tom Brady. Tom Brady, the only quarterback in NFL history with multiple 24-plus point comeback wins. He's just a freak. By the way, you know what the other one is? Kirk Cousins. Y'all didn't guess that. Nobody saw that coming.
Nobody. I was hoping
Whoa,
you
whoa, whoa.
I was hoping
But
you
was
would
that
have
this
said
year? That was this year, right?
Exactly, yeah. Kirk
Yeah,
Cousins and Tom.
that doesn't count. It was the Colts.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Look.
Kirk Cousins and Tom Brady, only quarterbacks in NFL with history with 24-plus point comeback wins. Crazy. But this is what's also mind-blowing. Out of those 33 games where you had Bobby Lane's got one of these, Dan Pastorini, Craig Morton's got one. There are a bunch of these. It goes down the list. Great quarterbacks. Frank Reich, of course, remember that. Basically, Patrick Mahomes has the only win out of all of those quarterbacks, those 33 instances where they had to come back from at least 23-plus points. He has the only win where he ended up leading at halftime. All of those other games where teams came back from 23-plus points to win a game, they were all down. They were all losing at halftime. He's the only quarterback in NFL history that was down 23 points and came back to win and ended up leading at halftime.
Yeah.
Now, maybe that's about the ineptitude and dysfunction of the Texans being a cluck of a franchise, but it can't be the only one.
At that time.
Yeah, we're talking about, decades of sample size here. He's the only one. It doesn't even take him long to come back from these deficits.
Mm-hmm.
Double-digit deficits. So I went rabbit holing. You guys know. I had nothing else better to do. I went and looked at double-digit deficits in the playoffs and what quarterbacks had, what their win-loss record was when they were down double digits in any playoff game. The only thing I did not consider is when it was a game-winning touchdown, a game-winning score that put them down double digits. So they had to be within the construct of the game. Time for them to make a comeback, basically. Tom Brady, 5-8. When he is down double digits in the playoffs. 5-8, which is really damn good, actually. Now I'm looking at it in retrospect, and I'm comparing it to the other, juxtaposed to the other great quarterbacks I looked at. And by the way, he's 2-1 when down double digits in a Super Bowl. That's why he's the GOAT.
Yup.
2-1 in those situations, but 5-8 overall. So not great, but not bad. But actually, it is great when you can compare it to other quarterbacks. Aaron Rodgers, 2-6 in such circumstances. Drew Brees was 1-8 in such circumstances. Joe Montana, 2-6. Both of those wins came with Kansas City. How about that? He's 2-2 when he was down double digits and double digits in the playoffs with Kansas City. The goats never lose it.
Right.
They don't never lose. He was old man at that time. The Oilers, he did the Oilers dirty in those playoffs. The Oilers were up. We were one of those teams. Love you, Blue.
Man,
up
come
double
on,
digits
man.
on Joe Montana. Came back and beat us like we stole something. All right.
It seems like the Houston franchise has been in two of these, man.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
Exactly. There is a theme.
Yeah, there is a
and it is
theme.
the dysfunction of the Houston franchises.
Yep.
Brett Favre, 1-7. in such opportunities, down double digits in the playoffs. Peyton Manning, 2-7. What about his peers now, his contemporaries? Josh Allen, 0-2. Joe Burrow, 1-2. Lamar Jackson, 1-3. Patrick Mahomes, 4-2. There's an argument to be made. I haven't done the deep dive research. I can do it later this week. I don't know if any quarterback all time is going to have a winning record down double digits in the playoffs.
Yep.
I don't know if there's going to be a quarterback with a winning record. We might have to go back to, I don't know.
Before they
Kenny
had
Stabler
records.
or something like I don't know. We can go
that's
back.
not a bad one
I
right there.
went and looked at the GOATs that we're comparing him to. The Joe Montanas, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers. Those guys aren't even close. When they're down double digits in the playoffs, it's over. The GOAT is the only one. Tom Brady, when he's down double digits in the playoffs, it ain't over. But everybody else, they're barely scraping by when they're down double digits in the playoffs. Patrick Mahomes, 4-2.
Right.
He's the only one with a winning record. And by the way, one of those losses was by 6 points to the Patriots. End up easily be 5-1.
Yeah.
Now I'm telling you, that is his Omega level, Category 5 force of nature ability. No lead is safe.
As long as he's on the field. That's why I keep saying there's no way you're taking me out of the game.
6
Anytime
points,
his team is down.
10 points, 14 points. I'm serious. It doesn't matter. I got another little stat for you before we wrap this thing up. So looking at fourth quarter, remember I gave you this stat earlier about Derek Carr. Fourth quarter comeback opportunities. This means an opportunity for a fourth quarter comeback and also an opportunity for a game-winning drive. Combine the stats. Okay? Tom Brady, he's at 56% winning percentage when he's got basically a 56% winning percentage when he's got an opportunity for a fourth quarter comeback or a game-winning drive. That dude is just unbelievable. Patrick Mahomes is right behind him. He's right behind the GOAT. He's got a 50% winning percentage when there's an opportunity for a game-winning drive or a fourth quarter comeback. Meaning there's a 50% chance that if he's got a chance to go win the game in the clutch, he's gonna win it. Tom Brady's he's over pretty much a coin toss to do it, 56%. But those are the only quarterbacks. Strangely enough, right now, not a huge sample size. Tua's at 50% too, strangely enough, and Jimmy Garoppolo. Shout out to Jimmy G, also in that category. But we all know Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Jimmy G, and Tua. A couple of those things are not like the others. My point being that if you're looking at just clutch gene, and not only clutch gene, but the ability to go from being hot to a supernova to be able to bring your team back to win games, I don't know if there's anybody that's been better at it in the history of the NFL. Like I said, Tom Brady said, but it took Tom Brady a long time to get to them numbers. Patrick Mahomes, this is his football character. This is in his DNA. This is what he does.
Yep.
And he has even actually thanked the Big 12 for this. He said thanked the bad defense in Texas Tech for this too. They were in so many games where they had to score 50 points, and they would score 50 points and lose. That he actually is used to this shootout mentality. That being down 14 points in the Big 12 football is really nothing. Double digits in Big 12 football is nothing. You can overcome that thing quick, fast, in a hurry. And he has his mentality now that when he's down 2 touchdowns, he's down 17 points, he figures, we got a chance to catch up. Now, maybe that's because defense in the Big 12 wasn't great or bad defense, whatever it was. The culture at Texas Tech for their football team was always lopsided based on offense. Whatever it is, it has programmed him now to believe that anytime they are down double digits, not only does he have a chance to come back, it's almost an inevitability.
It is written. It has been written. It was part of the script.
It's part of the script.
It's part of the script, dog.
That's his X-Man ability, ladies and gentlemen. That's the X-Man ability. No, the thing that he does better than anybody else, as well as anybody else, I would say better than anybody else. No lead is safe with Mahomes. And no other quarterback in NFL history has that type of comeback DNA. His comeback DNA is Omega-level mutant. It's crazy.
I love it.
All right.
I love it. And I know Texas Tech fans that are listening that have been giving me crap are loving it right now.
You know what I'm saying? They've been giving you the business. They've been giving you the business out there, no doubt. All right, we'll come back. We'll get into a little more off the record on the other side right here on Ball Don't Lie 104.9 The Horn. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It's a top of the charts Tuesday. We play jams that reach the top of the Billboard charts on this day in history. And yes, this day in history, it is Valentine's Day. So it's a Valentine's Day themed show, but not a Valentine's Day themed top of the charts Tuesday. Patrick's already stated, if you want to take the songs that way down, you can say that they're Valentine's Day related, but there's actually no Valentine's Day theme for top of the charts Tuesday, which I appreciate, by the way. My man Patrick, he's dead inside when it comes to Valentine's Day. Not a fan. And some of you out there, y'all not fans either. So if you don't like Valentine's Day, hey, it's all good.
It's a fake holiday, man. It's not even a holiday.
We celebrate fake holidays all the time. It's like 3 real holidays.
Exactly.
It's a Tuesday. You don't have to worry about it too much at all. It's not a real holiday like St. Patrick's Day.
Exactly.
Now that's for my people, the drunks.
St. Patrick's Day, once again, it's also kind of not a made-up holiday, but definitely one that we have kind of manufactured and turned it into our own thing. Which, by the way, I'm a fan of St. Patty's Day because me and my wife's anniversary before we got married was St. Patty's Day. Like our official relationship anniversary was St. Patty's Day.
Was that your first date, or was that when
that
you
was
first
like
met?
That's when we declared exclusivity.
Oh, okay.
Like I was like, all right, I'm only going.
Was it because y'all was drinking all that green beer?
No,
or
we
was
were
it
hanging
before
out
y'all went out to drink beer and like, hey, before we go get plastered, like we're together, right? All right.
Where
Just
we
want to make
going
sure.
with this?
No, they basically we was kind of dating around I was doing my thing. I don't know what she was doing, but then she brought up the exclusivity thing, and I was like, you know what? The other women I'm seeing, they ain't worth it. They ain't worth a damn. So yes, I will be exclusive, and I would just hang out with you. Boom. And then it was, and I said make it St. Patty's Day because I remember it. St. Patty's Day was the anniversary. Can't forget that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you knew you was gonna be partying.
I knew I was gonna be partying. I would remember it. Yeah, you go.
Exactly.
Okay, let's get to this story. I was gonna play some audio here, but tell with the audio. We'll read this story real quick, and we get to the audio next segment when we finish talking about the Super Bowl. So how about this? I got this from New York Post. So there's a TikTok viral sensation happening where single ladies, Patrick, pay attention to this, bro. This is big for you. Single ladies are now going on shopping sprees at a Home Depot, vying for a chance to meet an eligible bachelor among the aisles of the hardwood, screwdrivers and nails and whatever. Women on TikTok have discovered the perfect spot to window shop for single men is Home Depot. Delete the dating apps in 2023. Content creator advised in a clip with over 24,000 views that she was headed to Home Depot to look confused in the lumber aisle and have some man, come over to advise her or help her, and then she could snatch him up. Home Depot dating on the platform TikTok has 3.6 billion views. Ladies are going to Home Depot, guys. Remember I told you I should go to the grocery store and pick up chicks? This is the same thing. This is the women's version of going to the grocery store, picking up chicks. If there's a man there at the Home Depot, what does it tell you? What does it tell you if you got a man? If you're looking for a man at Home Depot, he can slang that wood.
There you go.
He can slang that wood. He's all
a
about
good driller.
He can drill it.
Yep.
Do it yourself.
Do it yourselfer.
You can do it yourself.
What is it? An FIY?
Yeah. And he's
Or
got
DIY. excuse me.
DIY.
Yeah.
He's strong with his hands usually up in there. That's what I'm saying. When I go to the grocery store, when I look in that cart, I be like, all right, she obviously cooks. She cooks really good. I like that. She don't eat too many carbs. Oh, she likes to eat some fruit. Oh, she likes, I don't know, the candy, the ice cream Snickers at night, whatever it is. I get all of my information from one little glance in her cart, man. Same thing at Home Depot. These ladies are brilliant. And if I was a single man, I'd be at Home Depot right now picking up these single ladies.
I'd be walking around with a cart of stuff I can't afford. Are y'all buying all that? Nah. Just like really high-end lighting stuff where she's like, are you putting this in your mansion?
Yeah, girl.
Nah, man, I'm going to put it in my roommate's spare room.
That's also true, too. You mostly live in a home if you're at Home Depot.
Yeah, I live in a home
No,
with other men.
When you live in a home, you're in a Home Depot usually if you live in an apartment. It's like, no, I'll call the super for that. I'll call the whatever.
Hey,
the
they
maintenance
said
person.
Them women ain't gonna find nothing but at Home Depot than day laborers.
hey, willing to help you, ladies, if y'all need it. All right, you damn right. Hey, ladies, y'all need some help around that house. I got you. All right,
You
I'll let you know the
gonna get
hourly
some
rates.
loving and drywalling done.
Exactly.
Oh, I love it.
I'm telling you, man, this makes perfect sense. I swear when I was young, I would do this at the grocery store. I would go to the grocery store. Sometimes I would even wear like slacks or like a sport coat, Ladies don't know. Then nobody's assume you're going to the grocery store in a sport coat just because you're a sicko like I am. No, they assume this guy came from a business meeting. He's here to do some quick shopping. Dude, women see you in the grocery store in a suit or a sport coat, gotta fight them off with a stick. They be stalking you down the aisles. Like, damn, why this woman following me? They just looking for it. Now they're looking at it for it at Home Depot. Telling you, guys.
Make sure you're not standing by the rulers.
What? Yeah, you know what? We're moving on that note right there. All right, we come back. We'll get into the last of our Super Bowl review, I should say. We'll get into that on the other side right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a Top of the Charts Tuesday. We play jams that reach the top of the Billboard charts on this day in history. And Patrick said this could be a Valentine's Day jam for the single people out there, right?
Well, for the people in relationships that aren't relationships yet. Because the song is straight up, tell me, are we together or not?
That's true. That happened to me. My wife confronted me and she was like, tell me what's up. Are we inclusive or not? And I was like, I guess
Is it going to be me and you forever? Or what? Should we just a hit and
this is-
run?
It did. Actually, I didn't know it was going to be forever. You said your boy waited 10 years after that. So I wasn't about forever. I was like, hey, man, let's me and you kick it for a minute and hang out and chill.
For 10 years.
Hang
we've
in
been
the
kicking
10
it for a
years,
minute.
and then now we married. So, yes,
Yeah.
all good. Yeah.
This is
Y'all
that
was
song.
common law before you knew you was common law.
We were a common law. Yeah, I couldn't avoid that.
This is the song when you bring him home the Valentine's card that says, I have such a great friend in you. You're like, friend in me?
That's
I don't like that.
Toy
That is
Story
true.
song. That's Woody. You're a friend in me.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, what do you say when somebody presents you with that ultimatum? Is it, are we going to be together, or is this just a hit and run?
That's right.
Can you say that, hey, I enjoy our intimate physical relationship, but I don't want to pursue anything further?
Yeah, you say, we said Netflix and chill, not Netflix and get all up in my business right now. Calm down. Imperative part is chilling.
Hey,
Agreed.
Patrick, I understand now why you like to be
I was
single.
gonna say, he's got an answer to all those questions.
And none of them are one
Patrick
girl.
is like, nah, man, I ain't got that kind of time.
Oh, man. Female listeners number 1 says that is her jam, Patrick. So good job. You hit that. She loves it.
Well, you could be going to see Adam Sandler with her if you would have been doing your things right. Not
yeah.
at Home Depot.
And about our conversation about ladies hunting for men and companionship at Home Depot, female listener number 1 says, I don't think I trust any guys under 30 to fix much of anything. She's right about that. Young guys, I don't know, says our fathers were that generation that actually would try to fix things, like fix stuff on their own, not take to somebody. They're like, literally, I'm going to look under, oh, the vacuum cleaner's broken. Oh, give me that vacuum cleaner, boy. I'm going to go outside and look at this thing and try to fix it.
Yeah.
With no real knowledge of it, just will go out and try to fix it. Without a YouTube video to, show them and direct them. No, they just try to do it on their own. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I don't do that.
Yeah.
I wish I had that skill. My dad does that. I can't do. My brother kind of does that, but my brother's older than me, so I don't have that skill.
Yeah. I mean, I fix stuff with YouTube videos, but that's
Exactly.
I'll fix it I'll fix myself because I'm cheap. So I'll be like, man, I ain't paying somebody to come over here and fix something I can fix, but I will go to a YouTube video to figure out how to do it
Yeah.
first.
Oh, that's
I
how
don't
my
just
brother is.
know how to do it.
My brother's DIY, but he YouTube. But I would tell the truth.
Anything's up there now.
Yeah, everything's on YouTube if you know how to fix. Like whether you need to fix your dishwasher, your fridge, microwave, like all that stuff, it's up there on YouTube. Somebody out there has figured out a way to fix it, and they are giving you free directions. Free directions about how to do it.
The missus is that person. I'll come home and I'll be like, what just happened? Oh, I already cut that down because I was going to do this. And
She DIY.
Oh, man, she is always. And I'm like, you do know that people get paid to perform these acts. That is why they took that job.
Is she good at it though?
Oh, great.
Okay, there you go then.
Great. You saw her Super Bowl.
Yeah,
You saw
she
the
did.
Super Bowl.
That was like an arts and crafts project, though. That
Exactly.
was pretty wild.
Yeah.
She made a stadium
Stadium.
for the snacks and for the appetizers and her
She even
d'oeuvres,
put
everything.
little Kyler Murray on there.
She put a scoreboard in
put
that thing.
And she had Kyler Murray sitting outside the stadium with Jake from State Farm.
Okay.
She put him on there. She said, look at little Kyler. Look at how he's
I
trying
was
to get
saying,
into that stadium.
No, yeah, that's a good point. Your wifey's got some skill. She
Yeah,
definitely
she
has some
puts
skill.
work in, dog.
Texas says, Rod B, my lady and I's anniversary is also St. Patty's Day. Met on 6th Street doing South by Southwest. Went to a death metal concert. Had dinner at Wendy's where we also had our first kiss. Still going 17 years strong. That's a great Valentine's Day story.
Man.
Like to hear it. There you go. Good stuff there.
That's good stuff.
There are a lot of comments about our conversation about ladies meeting men at Home Depot. I can't read half of them. They're inappropriate.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah, so I guess I love these. They're fantastic, but yeah. And someone's, yeah, I don't know if I can read half of these without getting myself in trouble. But thank you. Please send them in because you got us laughing, rolling over here, so we appreciate it. One guy here says, Art Gal says, my folks met at an AA meeting. That's a great place to meet.
Yeah, but he also said, or girl, said, I might have to tender tonight since we all insist.
Oh, that's definitely a man then.
Yeah.
No woman's just going on.
Some of them.
Just hitting the tender like that?
They are all IND. You know how to spell independent. They are doing their thing.
No, you're right. The ladies are on there. I guess I'm being a little sexist in that comment. You're right. Ladies are out there getting it done on Tinder. I assumed it was a dude, but you're right. Everybody's into space age pimping these days.
Yep.
Okay, let's get into Super Bowl review. Continue reviewing the Super Bowl, I should say. All right, we got some sound here. So I believe Peter King was interviewing Andy Reid. I believe he's the guy that's interviewing him in this audio. My man Patrick pulled just to set it up for you. So the 2 touchdowns that we talked about ad nauseum yesterday, where the Kansas City receivers, Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore, score on very similar concepts. The jet pivot return or the jet arrow return, whatever you want to call it. Well, apparently, there's a name for it. It's an actual play that Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy and his staff have designed. They got a really cool name for this concept. Here's Peter King talking to Andy Reid. Corn dog.
Yeah.
They got beat on the corn dog.
On corn dog.
Got beat by corn dog.
Double corn dogs.
Yeah. Double, you're right. It was
They
twice.
got double corn dogs.
Double the corn dog on there. Texas got beat by a corn dog once. Remember Taylor
They sure
Cornelius?
did. Yeah, they did.
Corn dog. His
Corn
nickname was
dog.
Corn Dog
Yeah.
Cornelius.
Yep.
Oklahoma State quarterback randomly. I digress though. I love how casual it seems like Andy Reid is about these types of things, because he's a really he's a jokester. Not a practical joke or anything, but he's a jokester. He cracks jokes on himself. Always talking about how he loves burgers and needs to lose weight, all this kind of stuff.
Yep.
But also now, like literally within his play calls, he's doing things to really break up the monotony. Corn dog. I don't know who suggested it for him, or if it literally was his description that no, corn dog's great. Nothing's better than a damn corn dog, and that's how he came up with it. But Andy Reid, more and more I hear from Andy Reid, and I hear about Andy Reid, I become more of an Andy Reid fan.
Oh, no doubt.
I
How
do.
can you not,
And for the
man?
personality of Andy Reid, I should say.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
He's got a great personality in the way he goes about his business, and you can look at the players and watch the way that they react to him. I mean, especially on the offensive side of the ball, those guys really love him when they talk about him and what he's meant to them and the success. I mean, it's always good to be loved when you're successful, by the way. If you're successful, they're definitely going to come to your aid and be like, yo, Coach Andy Reid, he's the man. But if you weren't a good coach, you probably wouldn't be there and those players wouldn't be talking about you. So it's good for him. And it's amazing what happens when you win, how happy everybody is. And your career seems to be better when you win.
Yeah, I mean, he's damn near a 500 playoff coach when he's with Philadelphia, goes there with Kansas City, hooks up with Patrick Mahomes, and now they seem to have this magical formula. And it looks like they could be competing for Super Bowls for the next 2-3 years. Whenever Andy Reid decides to hang it up and retire, that'll be the case. But I just think it's really cool that, once again, that some of the play calls that Andy Reid has in these games. Remember the last Super Bowl they won, Patrick Mahomes suggested the play call. What was it, 3rd and 15?
Yep.
And he's the one that suggested the play call. He came to the sideline, told Eric Bieniemy, I like this play. We should call this play. I actually have the play. I'll come up with it later. But that was actually a pretty cool story about how comfortable everybody is within that offense. And
was that the one they called it for Tyreek Hill?
That was the one, 3rd and 15.
Tyreek Hill,
third and 15 against the 49ers.
Yep.
Yeah, it was that play.
That's what I thought.
And it was Patrick Mahomes that suggested it. But either way, it just seems like there's a great chemistry and camaraderie amongst that group. I think that's what that corn dog story tells us. All right, I was actually doing some more Super Bowl rewatch, if you will, this morning, actually. And I saw something that was interesting, the blitz rate of the Eagles. So the Eagles couldn't get pressure with their front four, even though they were the best pressure group. Thank you, my man Raul Alegre. It was WASP.
Yep.
It was. Thank you. See, Raul Alegre, El Presidente. Thank you very much. It was. That's exactly what it was. And Patrick Mahomes suggested the play when he came back to the sideline. Turns out it was money. But I was looking at the blitz rate of the Eagles, and I'm surprised they didn't blitz more, considering they couldn't get to Patrick Mahomes organically. They couldn't get there with the 4-man rush. They didn't change much on the defensive front to try to get there. Now, the 33% blitz rate, according to Sharp Football, was Philly's number 2 highest blitz rate in 20 games they played this year. So it was, for them, a really high blitz rate. But I thought they should have went higher than that. Mahomes still wasn't sacked at all. They weren't getting there with the organic rush. I thought they'd have blitzed. Now, I would say that blitzing Mahomes, the stats show it does not pay off.
Right.
But nothing was working for them. Also, the Eagles, during the regular season, they had a 5-man front, what they would use, a 5-man front, where they would essentially put Hassan Reddick in a different gap and move him around the front with different shades and try to find him a one-on-one matchup, almost manipulate a one-on-one matchup.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a really successful front for them during the regular season. They used it twice in this game outside of the red zone. So they used a lot of heavy fronts, I should say, in the red zone, closer you get to the goal line. But outside of the red zone, this particular 5-man front they used where they're moving Hassan Reddick, the defensive end around, they used it just twice outside the red zone. And both times, Mahomes, they got a pressure. They got 7 pressures the entire game, and 2 of them when they were using those 5-man fronts, moving Hassan Reddick around a little bit. And I wonder why they didn't do that more.
Right.
Because both times it worked. Mahomes was pressured. One was a 2nd down. I think one was a 3rd down. It worked. I just thought they should have used it more.
Yeah.
Surprised they didn't.
Well, and that goes back to the coaching aspect, right? There's
Yeah.
something that we've been talking
The
about.
adjustments, yeah.
Some guys make adjustments and some don't. And that's when you got to go over to the sideline. And we were talking about this during the break at one point. You have to go to the sideline and tell the coaches, hey, move me to this side. Sometimes they get caught up in the atmosphere and not paying attention to what is truly going on in the game. And sometimes the players are the ones that need to come over to the sideline and say, hey, draw up this so we can get to this point because this is what we're seeing. We are in the action. I remember Malik Jefferson talking about the relationship that he had with Todd Orlando. And he was saying that we got to the point where we believed in Todd Orlando so much that when we came over to him and suggested stuff, he would draw up something so it would work for us.
Yeah.
And I don't understand
That's
why
important.
that's not part of, maybe it is, maybe they just didn't do it at that point, but there are so many times that you can watch the game and see they are doing this consistently, and now the other team is adjusted and they haven't adjusted the way that they're approaching things. Those are some of the things that I thought during that game that they could have been able to adjust to get pressure. Because remember, you talked about it, the numbers that were put up, the pressure rate, the sacks, they weren't getting to Mahomes that much. He was eluding them in the pocket and not necessarily always getting to the outside. That big run, he stepped up in the middle and ran down the field against them.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. No, except the most amazing stats are really about the Chiefs' fronts and front in terms of the defense and their offensive line.
Defense,
it's how they really won the lines of scrimmage when the scouting report and all of the pregame analysis was that the Eagles are going to win the lines of scrimmage. How can Kansas City win the game despite losing the lines of scrimmage? That wasn't the case.
Yep.
They won the lines of scrimmage. And it was honestly, it was actually a clear advantage for Kansas City on both lines of scrimmage. We'll get to that here in a second. I want to get back to that conversation, but I saw something else that was, because we talked about the corn dog plays, which were the jet pivot return motion that ended up being a touchdown for Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore. Both very similar concepts ran on back-to-back touchdown drives in the second half for the Kansas City Chiefs. And we talked about how really it was that simple concept by Andy Reid, just a short, quick motion to either a stack or a tight twins. And those are the biggest plays of the game. Those 2 touchdowns to Kadarius Toney and Scott Moore in the second half. The holding call on Juju Smith-Schuster on the last drive that ended up being the game-winning field goal. And early in the game, actually, on the Travis Kelce touchdown, Kadarius Toney has a short, quick motion. Those are probably the 4 biggest plays offensively for Kansas City, aside from the scramble from Patrick Mahomes late in the game, and they all came on short, quick motion because he figured out that's the best way for me to discombobulate these secondary players, these secondary defenders, and the DBs for the Eagles, and to really occupy their eyes, which they did a lot of. this is a little nugget I didn't think about, and I was talking to a coach of mine in the NFL who brought this to my attention. I thought it was a really good point. The Eagles' offense is 32nd in the NFL, dead last in using motion, which means that in practice, when they're just going team, whether it be in the preseason, training camp, 2-a-days, bye weeks, whatever, they don't see, the defense doesn't see it a lot because the Eagles don't use it a lot.
Right.
Right? They don't see it because the Eagles don't utilize it. Now, on scout teams, getting ready for upcoming opponents, depending on how much the opponents use pre-snap motions and shifts, okay, they're going to see it with the scout team. But going up against their own offense, when that happened, remember all the talk about why the 49ers knew Brock Purdy was going to be legit. Why was it, Harsh? Why did they say they knew Brock Purdy was going to have success?
Because he watched him. They were going against him in every practice, and they saw him. He was the scout team quarterback.
He's the scout team quarterback. He was lighting them up. They're like, man, we know he's going to be. We're the best defense in the league potentially. He lighting us up. All right. And one of the things he brought up, he was like, man, in practice, whether it be during the preseason, like I said, or during the bye week, or whether they're just doing like regular team and they're not preparing for an opponent, just going through their regular practice drills, their team, their 7-on-7, whatever it may be. He says that Philadelphia didn't use a lot of motion and shifts. Their pre-snap motion rate was 32nd in the NFL, dead last. He said no shock to him that Philadelphia's defense struggles with pre-snap motions and shifts. They just don't see it. Especially at an elite level. When they do see it, it's a scout team doing it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That's why in games they have struggled versus it. He's like, that's why Andy Reid decided to overload his game plan with a lot of pre-snap motion shifts. And I go look at almost every big play offensively, there's a little bit of a short, quick motion in it. And I thought it was a really astute observation. Yeah, it does hinder your ability to adjust to pre-snap motion shifts when you don't see it a lot. And that makes sense as to why they didn't make the freaking adjustment.
Right.
Back-to-back touchdown drives in the Super Bowl. You're beat by one specific concept, the jet pivot return, jet pivot arrow, whatever you want to call it, with Kadarius Toney. And on the very next drive, they're in the red zone again. You don't have a plan?
Right.
To adjust to it. It's the same
you don't
concept.
Have an adjustment plan?
I got to tell you, Kansas City probably didn't think it was going to work again. They probably like, it ain't going to work again. Let's just try it. I mean, let's try to make sure that they have made the adjustments. If they haven't, we'll get it. If not, we probably won't. At least we'll know how they counter our adjustment, our tweak. Nope. They did the same exact thing they did on the previous touchdown drive for Kansas City. So to me, not only does it say they don't work with it a lot, but they don't really adjust to it really well in the game, real time. Yep. So I thought that was a pretty cool observation by a friend of mine who's coaching at the next level. So there you go.
It's an astute observation.
It is. I thought it was a really cool one. I was like, I didn't really think about that because they did look like the motion really discombobulated them. It's like, it's just short, quick motion.
Yeah.
And people are acting like it is some mind-blowing, like, revolutionary concept. It's actually not. We've seen it at the Big 12 level. I'm not joking. I think I've seen it in high school, watching high school football in Texas. Like, it is a pretty common concept. So for people to be like, they couldn't adjust to it because they never seen it before. It's like, well, it's happened before.
Right.
At every level. BYU, I just talked about BYU ran it this year a lot. Sark has a version of it. We saw it with Devontae Smith, the orbit return motion in the national title game when he was at Bama. It's a lot more common than you think. There's no reason for the Eagles to be stupefied by the concept like they were.
Yeah.
Come on, dude.
Yeah.
Do better.
There it is. And now he's somebody else's problem because he got hired elsewhere, the defensive coordinator.
Man, if I was the Arizona Cardinals, you know what? We'll get into it next segment. We can talk about it next segment because we're getting close to it. All right, Derek Carr. We'll talk about him being released by the Raiders. Jonathan Gannon now hired by the Cardinals to be their next head coach. I don't have a problem with the hire, but there is something that I probably would have done before hiring Jonathan Gannon, and I'll tell you what that is on the other side. Right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie. Top of the charts Tuesday, a jam that reached the top of the Billboard charts on this day in history. That's what Top of the Charts Tuesday is all about. And yeah, this is a jam right here. Actually, never. Well, what was the genre of music that this song was considered to be a part of? Is it pop?
I would go with like house.
Yeah, okay. There you go. I guess house. But back then, there was no such thing as like house music, was it?
Yeah.
But it was such a weird, and then you got the rap in the middle of it.
Yeah.
It's a terrible rap, too.
And it's I was listening to this.
It's terrible rap.
The audio quality of it blows my mind of like, this sounds like they did it in a closet with his mic, with his mouth right up to the microphone. It sounds so bad. I'm like, this is on a #1 hit single.
Who sings the song?
This is CNC Music Factory.
Music Factory, yeah.
Who's the woman that does the everybody dance?
Who does most of the singing? I do not know.
Because that person is very talented.
Much more talented than Freedom Williams.
Is that the person rapping?
I believe that is Freedom
Williams.
Williams.
Oh, that's right.
He's terrible. I'd rather MC Scat Cat do the
Come on,
rap.
MC Scat Cat.
Yeah,
Opposites attract.
He's still available to do the rap.
But yeah, but this is a song for Valentine's night, gonna make you sweat.
There you go. I like that. See, you're being creative now.
Yeah, make it work.
I think Patrick's starting to get in the Valentine's Day spirit a little bit.
He's going to head to Home Depot after this.
Hey, yeah, you damn right. You damn right, man. That's some good looking
Gonna go over
woman.
there and
hanging
look
out.
at some power tools and see
Go
what's
over there,
going on.
see if I can disappoint some more women.
Hey, I'm telling you, man.
Oh,
You got
my
Home
goodness.
Depot. They looking for you out there. They'll be happy to have a good man like Patrick.
No doubt.
Who's a Renaissance man. All right.
Who can play music
Who can
for
play
him,
music.
too.
That's right. We appreciate his efforts. You can always be a part of the show. Specs Text Line's the best way to do it. 512-337-3776. We'll talk about Derek Carr here in a second. But let's start with the Jonathan Gannon news, gentlemen, because we hadn't got a chance to talk about it. Just broke, I don't know, probably about an hour or so ago. Jonathan Gannon is going to be hired as the next head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. It should be announced here soon, if not by the team, but it's been reported by multiple outlets that he's going to be the next head coach of the Cardinals. I thought Jonathan Gannon was, by the way, the Texans love Jonathan Gannon too. He was a finalist reportedly for the Texans job the last 2 vacancies they've had, which is way too often. So they really like Jonathan Gannon too. And I'm a fan of the Eagles defense, at least I was until the playoffs. But I was a fan of the 49ers defense to the playoffs too, and that didn't look great, so we know how that goes. But what I will say is, man, Jonathan Gannon, I know one series play does not necessarily define or indict somebody's prowess as a play caller, so I'm not going there at all. That's not the case. That's the case in, even the greats would be discredited. But, man, I do. If I am the Arizona Cardinals GM or their ownership, I really want to get the NFL films, like audio, because they have audio of everything happening on those sidelines.
Yep.
And I want the audio from the first, that Kadarius Toney touchdown. I want the audio from then of the Philadelphia Eagles sideline, defense specifically. And I want the audio to find out what they discussed after that touchdown, what adjustments were made after that touchdown, if any, in between that one and then the next touchdown on the next drive by Sky Moore. And the reason is, like I said, that's a simple adjustment in the biggest game of the season. And you got beat back-to-back touchdown drives, same concept. And I wonder if he made the adjustment and the players just had brain farts and didn't follow through and execute. And that's fine, because that does happen.
That happens more than we know.
Or if he just never addressed it.
Right.
Never spoke to the guys about it. Went over and said, hey, don't worry, guys, we'll get the next one.
Yep.
Jason Garrett, clap master. You know what I mean? We got this, guys. We got this. Or if he went over there and talked to the guys and said, hey, what happened? Like you said, about the communication.
Exactly.
What happened? I remember Coach Aquina, every time somebody get beat, we're sitting there and we're trying to console the person that got beat because they feel bad.
You're going to be
upset.
all right, man. I know Coach going to light you up in a minute.
Coach Kinnick over there, and he would not dog cuss anybody. He's not going to yell. First thing else, what'd you see? Like, what'd you see?
Right.
Tell me what you saw.
Right.
Like, what did you see? And then everybody else gets in on the conversation. Like, whoa, he did this. But remember, he did short motion. He didn't go cross formation. I thought we could have tangoed it, but we didn't. And then we started talking. And everybody started like, he's like, all right, you saw this, you saw this. Okay, here's what we do. Here's the plan. Boom, boom, boom. Then we chop it up. We got the plan.
Yep.
For next time it happens, same formation, same concept, whatever it is, recognize it. And what I say about coaches are problem solvers. Just go solve the damn problem. Right. That was a problem that it went unsolved, pretty much. And I want to know if Jonathan Gannon on that sideline attempted to solve the problem. Did he have the football acumen? Did he have the poise and the presence to make those corrections and the guys just didn't receive it? Or if he just didn't even address it? And that, to me, would be the ultimate indictment. Not the fact that they failed to execute it, but if he never even addressed the concept that beat them on back-to-back touchdown drives in the Super Bowl, that'd be concerning for me.
We're definitely going to get
That'd
a
be
chance
concerning.
to hear it. We're going to definitely hear it.
Yeah.
You know, we always get those clips of it where the sideline conversation is going to happen because it was such a unique play on the first play.
Mm-hmm.
It was something that they hadn't seen. It was something that wasn't part of it. And then, boom, you get a chance to see it again. The biggest question that I want to know is, what was Darius Slay doing? Still to this day.
Still to this day.
Still to this day. I went back and watched it again, and I'm like, he didn't even look back at the quarterback. He was pointing so far at the other side that he didn't even have a chance to notice that the guy went back in the other part. And as a matter of fact, that entire team shifted because Travis Kelce was open too.
Yeah.
He was open too.
Yeah, because he was so far out of position because he was trying to replace the safety or replace that nickelback,
Right.
and then the nickelback would bump with the motion that I can't understand why he took his eyes off of his first read.
Exactly.
Your first read is still you're reading through number one. You're reading number one to number two.
Yep.
That's how you're going to determine who passes off the offensive player, and he just left his eyes just left his player.
Again, goes back to what I was saying
Went in
earlier.
the backfield.
Sometimes it's that moment that everybody gets caught up in. And to your point,
You did?
it was like, I got it. Get over there. Get over there. They're about to do this. And then it was like, nah, bro.
Nope.
They coming right back where you left.
You think you know.
Unoccupied.
Yeah, exactly.
Unoccupied.
I think I read it was 11 yards of separation.
Yeah.
11. Dude, there should never be 11 yards of separation between you.
Anywhere.
And exactly.
You're in
On
the back of the
football
end
field.
zone.
Come
By
on,
that
man.
point, it's
Yeah,
like, why are you so deep on
That's a
that?
great point. That's a great point, man. Yeah.
I'm like, why are you so deep on that? And all they got to do is go 5 yards.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yep. And Amanda Raul Allegri says it also happened in the third quarter before the Pacheco touchdown after the Mahomes inside the 10. Yeah, the Philadelphia Eagles really had issues
Short yards.
with the
Yep.
with the scramble. With the jet sweep motion and with that jet pivot return motion and with the short motion. They
Yep.
just had trouble with it the whole game. Give Andy Reid credit. It was a simplistically brilliant concept that they just couldn't figure it out.
I'd like to give Eric Bieniemy credit on that.
Yes,
Okay,
let's give
okay.
Eric Bieniemy some credit. As well as give him some credit, no doubt about it. Okay, let's get to this Derek Carr story because Derek Carr has been officially released by the Oakland Raiders. It is a done deal, and right now there are a lot of people saying that he's going to be highly coveted in free agency by a lot of quarterback-thirsty, quarterback-needy teams. Remember, he would have been guaranteed around $40 million in future earnings under his previous contract, but obviously now he is a free agent. What team do you say, Hurge, needs Derek Carr's services the most?
Well, if you wanted to compete right away, I would say the New Orleans Saints
I like that.
would definitely be one. But I'm also looking at the Carolina Panthers, still in that same conference in that division. I would look at it and say, I'm looking at Frank Reich, because look, here's the deal. Dennis Allen, he's not an offensive-minded coach.
No.
He's not that guy. At least Frank Reich played the position. I know we've had that cycle of quarterbacks that have been coming in, but maybe that hadn't been Frank Reich's decision. When you start thinking about it, you start thinking about Jim Irsay making and meddling with all this stuff.
That's true.
Maybe he was like, I'm just going to do what this dude tells me to do, and I'm not even going to deal with it. But now you got an opportunity to this owner wants to win. This guy wants to win, so he's going to put good people around you. And if you can be Derek Carr, New Orleans is tough. I would love to play in New Orleans, but Carolina, it just seems like a beautiful situation for them. Because in New Orleans, you don't know what Michael Thomas is going to do.
Yeah.
You still don't know what Alvin Kamara is going to be. Maybe they signed him. I got to go back and look at that. But you look at New Orleans also, they got Chris Olave there. That's an up-and-coming wide receiver. They got a couple rookies that have done unbelievable things. So I might be stuck in between there, but if it were me, I think at the end of it all, I would be in New Orleans.
I like that. I like the New Orleans one too. I think there are a couple of wild cards maybe that would consider Derek Carr, but I think he's going to end up in the NFC South.
Yeah.
There's too many. There's 3 different teams that need a quarterback in the NFC South that would all, I think, consider Derek Carr.
What about going to Indianapolis? I know they're going to get a high draft pick, but they got a brand new coach who wants to win as well. He's an offensive-minded guy. He's the guy that came from Philadelphia as well.
Shane Steichen.
Steichen, yeah, he's gone. So would that be something? But it looks like Shane Steichen likes the quarterbacks that run around. I know it's Nick Sirianni's offense, so it may be a different part of it. So maybe they want a more elusive guy because that's not Derek Carr's game.
And there's a lot of talk they're going to try to trade up in the draft to go get a quarterback.
Yeah,
Right.
now people are saying that maybe this is all a smokescreen and they want everyone to trade up ahead of them to take all the quarterbacks' first 3 picks and they get their pick at number 4.
Could be.
So there is that theory out there as well. Steichen came out today and said, my theory is to pass the ball to score points and run the ball to win games.
I like it.
Is what his theory is.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, if they go to draft a quarterback, then Derek Carr is not going there. Clearly, even though they need a stopgap, he doesn't. I don't think Derek Carr wants to be a stopgap. So you have to find a team where there isn't somebody in waiting where he can be the quarterback for hopefully the rest of his career at some place.
Yeah.
Man, Cowboys. I think that's good news for the Cowboys. They lost both their coordinators.
They lost everybody.
Eagles lost both their coordinators, and they're going to have like 10 free agents potentially, like crucial free agents.
Do you think
up.
everybody in the AFC East is like, dude, could y'all a little help? Hire some of these guys away from them.
Yeah.
Seriously. No,
Y'all don't want to touch. They keep beating us.
man, you right about that. No, that's a good point. Philadelphia, their reset's going to be interesting because, they got Jalen Hurts and they got a lot of pieces on offense. They're going to lose a ton on defense, and they lost both of their coordinators. That's going to be a really interesting offseason.
Miles Sanders,
Miles
free agent,
Sanders.
didn't play much in the playoffs in the Super Bowl. Maybe
Wasn't
he's
Hassan
gone.
Reddick a 1-year rental
I
for
think he's
them?
1 year old.
He's
Jalen Hurts is extension eligible now.
Yeah, you got-
he
yeah.
may want his money.
Oh, he's definitely going to want
There
his
is a
money.
lot of things
and
happening.
Domicong ain't coming back.
No, they got
There's a lot of people on that front.
Yeah.
The
7 is gonna
offensive
be
line.
gone.
Kelsey's thinking about retirement.
Yeah. I think he'll come back, but you're right. He's
But
thinking
yeah,
about it.
there's a lot happening.
Totally agree. There's a lot happening for Philadelphia. It isn't Philadelphia last year. I remember a lot of people believing the Cowboys were a better team at this time last year than Philadelphia.
Yep.
And then they made a ton of moves in the offseason, and their quarterback, Jalen Hurts, decided, I don't want to be average anymore.
Yep.
I want to be considered a top 10 quarterback. And he changed his game. He just transmogrified his game. Can Dak do that? Or has Dak tapped out? Is Dak plateaued?
If
Is
you
the
ask
question.
all these people right here, he's plateaued. They want him gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not.
Well,
we're not opening that one up for the text line.
We're gonna have this. No, we're gonna have this conversation tomorrow. I'm gonna
Yeah,
get
no doubt, no
homework
doubt.
for y'all because go look at Trevon Diggs' Twitter account, and then we're gonna have a conversation about his tweet tomorrow about Dak Prescott. All right, we'll have that tomorrow. When we come back, we'll wrap it up, put it in there, and let you know what's on tap right here on Ball Don't Lie. 104.9 The Horn. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Getting ready to wrap it up and put it in the oven. This will be a quickie of a segment. If you miss any part of any of the shows, please go to hornfm.com. You can catch up with them on the podcast page. What's on tap for you tonight, Harch?
I'm going to go home and do some more research and watch a little basketball. But obviously it's Valentine's Day, so I'm going to hug my kids. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, hug the kids, hug wifey, let them know how much you love them.
Yep,
I'll be doing the same. Also going to watch some good TV. I'm watching Mayor of Kingstown. Damn good show on Paramount.
Yeah.
It's worth the watch.
Okay.
It's really good. What you got on tap, Patrick?
I might head down to Sea Boys and see what's up tonight.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Oh, you know it's going to be a party. You're going to see, hey, Swipe, stop by Home Depot on the way.
Swipe right, swipe right.
Yeah.
All right, we
for
go
sure.
tomorrow, same time, same place. Thank you guys out there for your participation on the Spec Text Line. You are awesome today, as usual. Remember, the revolution might be televised. We talk about it right here on Ball Don't Lie. We love you guys. We mean that. Take care of yourselves. More importantly, take care of each other. Peace.